Ready? That guy probably. And we are live.
It's 15:30.
What's good? This is your boy Tico, Tren,
Live.
aka the Internal Sadist. I'm here with that guy who fell out. He'll be back. Double Ass here, Yams here, MiGTOW in the Winds here, and I also got can-petey, aka Manosphere Prez. And that guy is whatever we think he's back. There he goes. And that guy right here.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Keep coming back. It works on the workers.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by True Sherm and his purple grimace meat.
And the letter A. Also by the number 9 and viewers like you.
Tico Tren, would you please explain to me, like I was 5 years old, the concept of hose mat? It doesn't seem to register. Frankly, I'm a little
Hose
up
mat.
for answers.
Pause
I was mad. That's all it is. I was mad. That's the concept.
Pause mad.
Give me 1 second. I gotta mute my mic because I gotta make sure this place is
So what are we
where I'm supposed to be at 15:30.
talking about
Pause
Corona?
mad.
I'm gonna touch up on the coronavirus because I'm at the beginning of the stream because I wanted to talk about the incident when I was actually talking about the idiots at spring break. Like, I'm not mad at the people at spring break. I don't really care what you do, but just know that you're not invincible, like I said, and shit can happen to you. Now I believe like 4 of them out of all those people that went to spring break actually are positive for coronavirus now.
Stupid ass motherfuckers.
Like
On
I
a
told
side
you,
note,
like if you die, you die. It's up to you. I mean, you might live, you might die. But the sad part about that, y'all out were on spring break, so y'all might have underlying causes and problems that y'all don't know about, like the flu and everything else. So
Right.
there's a high chance that y'all might die, and it might
Damn right.
suck,
And
and it's going to suck.
and on that note, with the whole people just randomly attacking the Chinese, like, look, first off, you're basically going after somebody that probably knows just as much as you do, if not less. You know. So you're basically just gonna go after a person because you think they have it. What do you think is gonna happen if they do have it and you fight them? You're gonna catch it yourself, you stupid asses. You know. And then you want to go.
You punch them,
So
their
where
slobber's
does-
going to get on you.
Yeah.
Where does the virus come from?
It actually came from a lab in Texas.
Does it come from? Was it in China? Was
It's
it
not
made-
manufactured.
Okay.
No, it's actually not a manufactured
Oh, no.
one. It's actually an actual.
It
It's an actual virus that came from a lab in Texas and shipped to China.
Regardless
further
of where the
research.
virus came from, what's worse than the virus itself is the people's stupidity.
Right.
Definitely.
And you know what? And we have plenty of it. We have plenty of it to go around. And you know what? I would love nothing more than the government to remove warning labels on all hazardous shit, household product. Stupidity solved. Got people thinking before they act.
No,
Survival of the
if
fittest.
they remove stuff, then people can sue.
Yeah.
But have
Hey, Tico.
the government protect people so they can't sue.
So it was. I think it was.
Hey Tico,
Hmm?
do
It
they
was
have
made
wet
to kill
markets?
off the old
Do they have
people.
wet markets in Central America?
What happened?
Do they have
Yeah,
wet
that guy?
markets in Central America?
Wet
Do
market?
they have wet markets? Yeah, wet markets.
What do you mean by that exactly?
Down.
That can pretty much gauge. That can almost be anything.
Where you can buy like a live chicken and they'll kill it for you.
Yeah, you do. We'll get it on the spot. It's fresh.
Shoot, you get me the chicken, I'll kill it for you for free.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I'll skin it.
Like matter of fact, a good example of that is my grandmother. If you go to my grandmother's house, she got chickens. You pick one, she'll kill it for you, cut it for you, in all the pieces, all the cuts that you wanted in.
Right. I said, shit, you give me, if you hand me a live chicken, I'll kill it for you for free. You know?
Like you also charge you basically is for the chicken or the cow.
So they said
Yeah, my grandmother
that
would actually
this
kill a cow and cut it
mark-
for you. Yeah.
They say that this wet market. They said that it was that type of market where this virus came from initially,
Well,
as
no,
far as where the
because
first cases
well,
started
no,
from.
it didn't come from that. It basically came. No, it didn't come from that because that's not where it came from. Unfortunately,
No, I'm talking about where the first
Hold on,
cases came from.
and it
I gotta
probably came
mute the
from a
mic
person.
because
Probably came
I'm
from a
at the
person who
shipper.
came in contact with it and probably coughed all over the shit. But on top of that, if you actually know anything about the COVID virus, they actually vaccinate all animals for COVID virus. They gave all animals COVID vaccines.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And what mark? Well,
So, like,
most markets that are on the up and up, they vaccinate their animals before they actually kill them.
so what are like some of the practices that you think contribute to an environment where things like this can happen? Because there's a lot of things that can happen in a place where you can kill something live in the open.
Uh-huh. Well, the thing with that though is it's not. Well, my grandmother doesn't really have a wet market, whereas like in China they actually have a stand and they're out there. She actually does it out of her house for the most part, and she does it in a very very
Hmm.
clean sanitary kitchen. And there's actually a
Hmm.
sanitary kitchen in a barn, in a farmhouse basically. So she basically takes you there. You get to watch how she pretty much prepares it and cuts it for you. You pretty much can say, I want to
Shit.
cut it in half, or I want to cut it in a fourth, or I want to cut it into quarters, or I want to cut it in hind legs and this, or I want the thigh and the leg still attached. You basically pick and choose how you want to cut for the most part. And that's
Right.
basically how the farm works. But it's done in a very sterile kitchen. It's probably more sterile than actual surgical suite.
Nice. I mean, the thing is for me, it's like like I said, I don't understand why people. I understand it because we're not more.
Hang on, Mr. Does that answer your question, Mick, that guy?
Yeah, I just like we just
That's
have
if
to
you're on the up
really
and up. That is
examine like
thing.
how
That's if you're on the up and up.
like
It'll
how
actually work that way.
sanitary. We just need to really be mindful, like how sanitary is everything. Like, do you know
Yeah.
how sanitary your butcher is?
Yeah, the sad part about that is like if you go to a shop out in the open like that, like in a square like that, you're asking for trouble. I don't care who it is, what country it's in. If you go to a shop like that out in the open, you're literally asking for trouble. It might seem cool to you at the moment. It might seem great to you at the moment, but there's been a lot of salmonella cases that came out of shit like that. There's been a lot of Klebsiella cases that came out of shit like
You
that.
might want to
A
lay
lot of
down.
a lot of cases of the craziest shit coming out of stuff like that. If you do stuff like that, for the most part. So. I mean, I would eat at those places. I would eat at those places with caution for the most part. If you don't know the motherfucker personally, don't do it. Or if you don't know and trust a person, I wouldn't eat at none of those places like that for the most part. That's just me though, because I know how my family handles farming, and we handle it very well. And all our shit is we don't
Balls is this?
GMO our shit. We don't GMO our shit, and we don't put any pesticides or any extra shit like they do in the United States and our shit. So all our shit is like
that
all
that
natural
same
and like really
motherfucker?
organic. It's pretty much organic for the most part.
Is that same motherfucker that was sitting there beating his dick on the fuel aisle?
Oh, good lord.
Yes,
Anyway,
the
does that answer your
fucking
question now,
is.
that guy?
You fucking
Oh yeah. I just think it's something that we need to think about, like as far as because
Yeah.
everybody here, unless you like live way out in the middle of nowhere, we all get our food from the same place.
Yeah. True.
I'm
Very
not
true.
cutting. I'm checking in.
No.
Can't pick up till 15:30. Alex, I just had to get on the CB radio, let them know not to panic. Don't have a conniption fit. Keep your fucking.
Like these streets out here is empty.
Yeah, I know.
It's empty.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
The air
it's
is
dead. I
like
mean,
what
there's
True
no
Sherm was saying
movement.
earlier. Like the air is just so clean now, and it's so refreshing to walk outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's gonna be
I
like
don't
that
know,
for a
man.
while.
I got the heebie-jeebies, man.
And it's gonna be like
I
that
got
for a
the
while.
heebie-jeebies because I'm
The thing that
I'm a student of history, man.
Yeah, you should,
history always
because
repeats itself.
America's going to
History
be a
always
new
has
epicenter
heebie-jeebies.
for the disease.
History always repeats itself. That's why I said history always repeats itself. Everybody go forget about the past, let the past be the past. But history always repeats itself. It always has this weird way of popping back up and in
Hey,
presenting itself as a new problem, but it's still really the same damn problem with extra
didn't
shit attached to it.
didn't we have a Spanish flu a long time ago in about the 1920s,
Yeah, we
1919?
already talked about that, MiGTOW the win. Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah,
the sad part about that is we had one before that,
yeah.
and it was nothing more than a it was nothing more than a
Tuberculosis.
no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was basically the second one was basically a mutation of the first one for the most part.
They had all type of shit back then that can kill you. You could die from tuberculosis.
Hmm.
Shit.
I remember there was
Fucking polio.
there was actually open tuberculosis terrarium in Pittsburgh on the top of a hill somewhere where they had an open one. It was the first one that was it was like the first and only one that was an open hospital for tuberculosis. They literally had like an open hospital for it. Like it was like out in the open. Like all the windows were open. There was no doors on it hardly unless you went back to your room. If you sat in the cafeteria, it was almost like how they have some of these cafes where like you got this seating area outside. That basically the whole entire area was pretty much open air.
You know, like I don't know, like I know we all have to be like really smart, and we should all be cautious. You know, it's just then about having a standing army on your soil that just it should make you nervous, even if it's for a good purpose.
Yeah. And it always should. And
You
the sad
know,
part about that is like a lot of the states don't even have them coming out yet. They just have the local police officers like enforcing shit, or the state police actually enforcing the shit, or the sheriffs enforcing shit. And the sad part about that is like it can get worse. Trust me, it can get a lot worse. The
it's
question
like
is, are you
like
willing to
I like
sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice your basic freedom to let it get worse? Are you willing to sacrifice your who you are or what you stand for or what you believe to actually let this shit happen to you for the most part?
Yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, you have to look at America as what it used to be, which is, you know, for the most part, like wilderness. And it's like, what do we value more? Faith that we're all going to just survive and prosper, or do we need some sort of order, some sort of standing infrastructure that can there's some new infrastructure that can put us at ease. And it's weird because we were mentioning all these things in the past, these viruses and flus and things, and it's like I would rather have like a 30% chance of catching 50 different diseases than 100% chance of catching a mega virus, like a mega flu or something that was like discovered just recently that has like a 90% effectivity rate.
Well, the sad part
And it's
about
just
that
like,
though is it wasn't discovered recently. It's been around for a minute.
For a long time.
Yeah, it's been around for a very, very long
Yeah,
time.
this shit ain't new, man.
This shit ain't new. Nothing new under the sun. Trust me. Like I always say. And the sad part about that is it's nothing.
so it was
more
around during the Spanish flu.
It was probably around since then, but it was discovered by somebody in America in about this 1960s. The coronavirus was actually discovered by somebody in America in the 1960s.
Mm-hmm. Was it
So it's
mainly
been
an
around.
animal?
It's been
Was it
around.
mainly an animal?
It's been around
Or
since
was
your
it?
mom's mom and your grandma's been around for the most part. So if it was discovered then, who's to say it wasn't around before that? Just because you discovered it in the 60s doesn't mean it wasn't around in the 50s, the 20s, the 1800s for the most part.
So it originated around human beings and civilization.
For the most part, that's where they found it. That's
Oh,
where
okay.
they found it. Scientists basically was looking in a microscope and found it, basically. And the rest is history.
Hmm. Well, it's like, yeah, when you focus on something, it's easier to identify what it
this
is.
how
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's hard for us to. Yeah.
Good.
I'm
Go
saying
ahead.
this made me think about how our grandparents lived, man. Like a lot of them had like gardens and shit. You know, a lot of them canned their own. You know,
Yep. Can
and,
our own
t-
phone.
and
We
it's
can't
not,
do that nowadays. We
I
can't
mean,
do
like
that.
even just
We can still do
mason
that.
jars.
Like we can still do that if we know how to get the seeds from the food that we got. Yes, they may be
Let me-
GMO, but they still have a potential to be able to grow food, to grow seeds. You know.
Let me expand on that for a minute, because
Yeah.
what you said, that guy, you're right. They used to have backyards with with big gardens and things like that. That's the old school way of, keeping things available for yourself, right?
And
You know,
lowering
it's America,
costs.
so they like stuff more efficient. People gotten more lazy in America, so not a lot of people
Right.
take the time to
We
actually
don't see things
cultivate a
clearly.
garden.
But not only that, if you look at stores of the past, all right, like there used to be not Sam's Club, but before Sam's Club, there used to be another one. I forgot the name of it. I can't think of the name of it right now. But there used to be all sorts of stores
Farmer market.
before the big
Let me just
stores
consider
that we
everything.
have now, right? So all those stores, I remember as a kid going into some of them, and they had those turnstiles and those things that you had to walk through so people would be in line and they wouldn't, jump over the line and stuff like that. They had all that shit in the past.
Yeah, like
That shit went away
toys
because
and
things got safer, the
Woolworths.
supply chain got stronger. So all that shit, people didn't worry about it anymore. Hey, do you have to have a backyard garden? No. Why? Because I can find all the seasonings I want inside of my local Walmart.
Yeah.
All that shit went away. And as far as getting into places and out of places, they
Man,
took
what are
those
we doing?
turnstiles away, counting how many people are coming in. They took those line,
I'm at the shipper
management
right now.
pieces away.
I'm
Those
at the
bars,
shipper.
those metal bars that used to be at the front entrances to stores and things like that. Now they're putting them all back because of this coronavirus. Look,
Yep.
if you go to Costco right now, they got carts, and they
The old
have
turnstile.
not the turnstile. They have those things, those crates, those wooden crates, pallets. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for, pallets. Those pallets, and they're using that to make people go in a certain way and come out a certain way.
Hey,
So now
that
they're
sounds-
restricting movements again. I'm telling you, the whole
Guess what?
landscape has changed.
Guess
Your
what?
whole life is going to be different after this.
That's what I'm saying.
Which proves
Well, it's
the
the
point that
people's
we are nothing
fault.
but animals. Which proves
Yeah.
the point that we're nothing but animals.
It's the individual's fault for failing to acknowledge the strength of social hierarchy and what it means to be a sovereign. Because when we start looking at tasks such as purchasing and buying and food and like growing our own foods
Yeah,
and sustaining ourselves as just like a one-shot a button press, then we start to elevate ourselves to a false sense of power. We say, oh, I can just buy my toilet paper and groceries online, and we don't think about we don't see the way that we can actually, like what that guy's saying, like make our own food. But if we were to do that now, we would essentially be stopping the prescription that the government has given us, and we would start to, like, when you take your crazy
Hey,
pills,
Doc, was you going that way or that way?
we will start
All right.
to actually see things
I am
clearly when we start
right
to take care of
there in the
ourselves,
truck,
and
my
that'll
load
actually
doesn't
create
pick up till like
more
15:30.
unrest.
I'm just trying
Because
to
people will
verify
be
well, everybody's in line, so so as soon as I get checked in, I'm gonna.
I gotta get my paperwork.
Yeah, as soon as I get checked in, I'm gonna go and get to the back of the line.
Not to mention, there's
Man,
also
look at that construct. Get in the back of the line.
get in the back of the line, right? Just wait your turn like everybody else. Yeah,
Right.
Yep.
that's really the level of femininity that's in the culture right now. Is that like we can't actually get anything done because there's so much bureaucracy, there's so much paperwork. Like everybody's waiting on a bill to be passed. It's like, why should we be waiting? Why should we have to wait for this stuff to happen? We should be able to take this stuff into our own hands and get it done.
Because just like every other chicken, you have to be a good chicken and put your beak up in the air with your mouth wide open and wait for the farmer to throw his feed at you.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so, but for me, because the thing is, it's like,
have you guys ever seen 100,000 chickens maul a single farmer?
Yeah.
And eat them?
Yeah, I've seen it before.
It's hell to watch.
Yeah, it's funny as hell. It's very funny.
Yeah.
It just made me look at, like, I think right now the enemy is innovation, and I'm gonna say why. Like once we innovated and made things more efficient, we forgot how to do shit, and nobody knows how to do anything anymore.
Yeah,
Like
true.
Well,
everybody
it's
spent their
people's
time.
fault for forgetting. Yeah.
Everybody spent their time chasing whatever pursuits that they had, whatever sciences they wanted to learn, whatever skills that they have, and nobody thought to learn how to do anything that was actually fucking useful. You know, like I'm a barber. You know, like I'm shut down right now. You know, so it's like, what skill do I have to where I could actually produce anything? And I have absolutely just what my grandparents taught me as a kid from when they had land. Like no, but like how many people in here could catch a wild horse?
I can.
Oh shit! I gotta fix my speaker.
You're fine. We hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
then
I don't
the,
want
the
I don't want
but
language
that
it
can
on
follow.
my.
the
Well, yeah,
language
and that's
turns
one of the
into
things. Like
well,
what that guy was saying. How many people can actually catch a wild horse? How many people know how to fish without a fishing pole? How many people know how to How many people know how to hunt without a gun? How many people know how to, you know, skin fillet a fish, or cut
And
animals
like
properly, butcher animals
yeah.
properly?
And
How
then
many
and
people know how to do all
the
this
same thing goes
this
with
simple shit that you take for
yeah.
granted in your
The,
everyday life? How many
the
people know
same
how to
thing goes with
farm?
right.
How many people know how
How
to
many people
cultivate? How many people
understand
know how to go out and actually not put pesticides on their
how
shit
many people
and
know
actually go out
when?
and
How many
debug
people
their
know
stuff?
when to farm?
Yeah,
or real or
How
like
many
the
people
real
know when
things.
to farm?
true story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like how many people know how to actually farm when you're not using proper pesticides, and how to go out there and debug your plants and your stuff
How
from
many
those.
people know how to catch ladybugs?
That was
But
now
no,
you're cutting
guys,
up now.
that's bringing that
Yeah,
stuff
but that actually does work a little bit.
up is misogynistic because it describes the patriarchal oppression that we experienced in the past, and history is just filled with just a bunch of
None of
patriarchal
that shit
oppressive
matters
people.
None of
anymore.
that shit matters anymore. Because that right now,
None of that shit matters
right
anymore.
now, we're actually experiencing real patriarchal shit right now.
Yeah,
Because you
None
don't
of
hear
that
none of
shit
them
matters
feminists talking
anymore.
because they're all out there trying to get a man right now because they're scared they might die and shit.
they're not gonna get
Yep.
that
Bitch,
patriarchy,
That's what they're
boy.
scared
bitch,
of.
done,
Yes.
bitch, bitch has done unspiked their hair and twisted it up in pixie tails and says, "Look at me, I'm a girl now." Yeah, that's basically what they're doing now. That's basically what they're
Here's what
doing now.
I analyze. Here's how I dissect what's going on right now. So, like you guys are saying, there's there's a lack of understanding in the like the populace, like I would say like the lower class and the middle class, of how to actually do certain things without the technology that we
Anything.
have. Anything.
Anything.
And in
Nobody
addition
doesn't
to
know how
that,
to do anything without pushing a fucking button.
Hey, guess what?
because our I think it's
I
because our language is structured in a way that makes it hard for people to actually open their mind and learn about, how to catch a fish without a fishing pole. And I think
right.
this comes down to the religion too, because the way that when you take our understanding of spirituality and our understanding of connecting with the environment and the land away, it raises our need to avoid uncertainty, and it raises our fear of the unknown, and it takes away all the things that sort of like a blanket of security, a blanket of protection that allows mankind to actually adapt to the environment, as opposed to
I
not having that and instead being funneled into, a double-ized chicken coop, which we all want to fight against, but we don't have the language to express the freedom needed to escape the chicken coop and overthrow
now
the
Yeah.
farmer,
Hey,
overthrow the shepherd.
Yams.
the thing is,
Yams, do
yeah,
you
but
know
the thing,
do you know how much this shit is like? I don't think people really understand the shift in humanity that's happened here in America in the last week. Like
we're
like
all pussy. We're
and
all been pussified.
Yeah,
well,
pussified.
We've
it's
all
even deeper than that. What I'm saying is like different shit matters now. Like for example, there's like me. I was a musician. I played a bunch of different instruments. That shit, none of that shit fucking matters anymore.
Yep.
None of your fucking artistic anything matters anymore. Nothing that makes you so-called refined fucking matters anymore.
Yeah.
How good are you in hand to hand?
Not unless it's like that.
Let him finish. MiGTOW to win. Go ahead, that guy.
It's just like the things that so-called make us a so-called society doesn't matter anymore. What matters is fucking shit that fucking matters. Like, how are you in hand-to-hand combat? Do you know how to operate a firearm? Can you protect your family? Can you eat? Can you feed these motherfuckers? Like, nobody gives a shit about your liberal arts degree.
Like, the thing is, it doesn't matter because it's not needed. It doesn't matter because it's not needed at the current time.
I don't think it ever will. Like, honestly, like, if you think about it, if you have, like, let's say a bunch of jewelry, what use do you have for that jewelry right now?
None.
Yeah. Or if you have like
unless it's actually made out of gold, then you actually have some value.
That part.
You can melt it down.
If you have a Bentley, what use do you have for a Bentley right now?
None. Because nobody would buy one of those. There's
hard ornament.
So it's so when you think, like, I think it's a whole shift that I think that we as millennials needed, as far as, learning what the fuck matters in life. Like, we don't know what the fuck matters in life because we were taught that this matters and that matters. You become successful and you retire with some money and you jump inside the hamster wheel and you run in fucking place, So I think now people are understanding, like, you know what? Walmart does sell seeds.
Well, the problem with those seeds is they're government controlled seeds. Because I remember I got into an argument with somebody in a server about this. Well, Tico, how do you know that the government don't control your seeds? Because my family's been farming before the U.S. government was the U.S. fucking government. That's how I know. Before the U.S. government even remotely placed this mandate on these seeds and made it so that you have to buy a certain kind of seed. My family was already doing this before they was even a thing. When they was trying to figure out if they want to be a part of the Great Britain, if they wanted to be a part of Great Britain, or if they wanted to be by themselves, my family was already farming. It's just
like
facts.
Think about this, Tico. How important is the internet right now? Like for example, if you can't feed yourself, how important is even charging your phone?
Right.
Well, you also have to take
that guy. You could actually charge your phone.
Technology.
Hang on, yeah. That falls under like priorities for the most part, because people's priorities are all fucked up for the most part. And that's the sad part. Like, so like people, it's kind of like when I joke about that one guy that was in prison and I always do his voice. Booty was more important than water. It was more important than air. It was more important than food. Yeah, basically, like people's priorities are way off for the most part. Is what I'm trying to say. And it's sad to say it that way, but like it's literally true.
Yeah, and the simple joys in life are no longer fulfilled.
I think we just got some medicine, to be honest with you. And I think that medicine is, I'm not wasting my time in trivial pursuits anymore.
Yeah, no, you don't waste your time in trivial pursuits. That's why I said at the end of the one live stream, you got to better yourself. You got to focus on yourself.
Like, who cares about learning how to pick bitches up?
Yeah.
You're not far off from reality, that guy. Here's the thing. Everyone knows that we're taking this medicine. That you're absolutely right about that. What you're not connecting is that this medicine that's being given to us right now is being spoon-fed to us. This is in a controlled environment. You see? It's not a real threat.
History. I know what time it is, man. I know that once they're done moving the equipment that they're going to move it, they're going to lock this shit down.
So let me define that, right? Let me define that. Once again,
lock this shit down.
It's spoon-fed to us. The medicine is spoon-fed to us. It's not that much of a threat, a real threat. If you want to talk about threat, let's talk about Spanish flu, the plague, the
actual
black
flu that
lung.
we get every single year that kills over thousands and thousands of people on a regular basis without even blinking, and we don't lock down shit for the regular flu.
Things like that have hit us in the past. So that shit is serious. This is medicine, but it's spoon feeding us.
Yeah.
This is, look, once again, as I was trying to tell you, we've been shoving disaster recovery down everybody's fucking throat since 9/11, or even before that. Y2K, right? So since Y2K, we've been shoving disaster recovery down everybody's throat in information technology, in security, in governance, everything. Disaster recovery. Have a backup plan. Have a backup solution. Say something happens to your office building right now, today. Half of your employees can't show up because of the plague. All this fucking verbiage is all out of the disaster recovery manual. Look up any company's disaster recovery plan, and you'll see that verbiage inside.
Yeah, Google has one. Hell,
Yes.
hospitals have one. Government buildings have one. The military has one. Everybody
look at
has
the
one.
date
And it falls
on those
and it usually
manuals.
falls under the it usually falls in the same book that you'll see the SOPs that I always refer to, standard operating and procedures.
Correct.
Now, do you think the old lady in Arkansas gives a shit about that? She goes in the backyard, she kills her own fucking chicken, and then she
But
opens
that's
up a
just it.
mason jar
It's
of
not
some shit
about
she
the old
canned
lady.
5 years
It's
ago.
not about the old lady. The old lady's
It's not
if
about the old lady
doing
in
that,
Arkansas.
The old lady's still doing that. The old lady's going to be fine. You see what I'm saying? That old lady pretty much got her shit under control. It's just facts.
Yeah.
Like
I
she's not
think we
worried
need to
about
look
this
at
shit
their
because she already,
wisdom.
like, basically she's already been. And the way to put this nicely is she's already prepared for this stuff. She's been preparing for this stuff for many years. So this ain't shit to her. Basically, this is basically a walk. This is like walking a park to her. This is like a day at the picnic.
Preparation is no longer a process. It's now an act that people have to go out
an act that she was
buy
used to
stuff
doing
up.
for so many long. And the sad part about that, a lot of women lost these skills. Now a lot of women are scrambling to find men. Hence what we were talking about in the last live stream when we were talking about women walking around with these big ass yoga pants with fat asses and shit like that, with these tights. What the fuck they call them? Them nylon thigh things, whatever the fuck they call them. Basically, you're just walking around trying to show, trying to play it up, basically, because we're trying to get a man now because they realize shit's really real. Shit really hit the fan, and it's sad.
And as far as the old lady's concerned, she's prepared because she's been through this shit.
Yeah,
she's heard stories about the plague and the black lung and everything else.
Yeah, like my grandmother, who still actually makes her own food and grows her own shit. She's been through this shit.
They know.
She knows what this shit looks like. She's been through times when the when Spain and Great Britain pretty much tried to come over and destroy and wipe out people. She's lived through that shit.
My grandmother, like I said, my grandmother, my mom. I grew up in a house with a decent sized yard where we had a garden. We had an apple tree. We had 2 peach trees. Hell, there was a vegetable garden.
Did you make
there was a place
cider?
for watermelon, and there was rose bushes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just the rose bushes were just for decorations. They were planted long before I was born. My grandmother and my mother taught me and my sister both how to cook. My dad taught me and my sister both how to work on the vehicles, like how to work on like machinery. And my sister is not a machinist person. Does not do mechanical. She does computers, and she's better at cooking than I am. I'm better at working with machinery and a lot of other things where she lacks, I make up for her. Where I lack, she makes up for it. She's the technology guru of the family. I am not. I'm the mechanic guru of the family.
Yeah.
If it is messed up, and if there's any possible way that I can get it running back again, either to optimal performance or just enough to get you to the next place to get it fixed properly, I can do it. I will patch up something just to get something to the next mechanic shop.
I think we as Americans need to learn how to do essential shit. They want to throw this word essential out there. And we don't know how to do shit that's essential to our fucking survival.
Right.
Well, you also have to take consideration too. You've been spoon fed so damn long. They basically weaned you off of essential shit to actually rely on them for the most part. It's kind of like what I always talk about with, like, a lot of the people, they don't realize that they're just relying on the government for the most part. It's kind of like I always talk about the government when you hear people in America talk about, I understand why they're accepting our money. Well, your government pretty much made them a dependent. You can't be mad at them for taking the money because your government made them the dependent that they are today. So you can't be mad about everybody else having subsidies and all this shit. Your government's fault why they actually do it. It's your government's fault. Because without that shit, because I always said, like, if I could go back in time and change anything in time, I would actually change the whole entire African grab.
let me say something here. I have a question for everybody. I mean, guys, how many of you? Like, I have a series of questions. How many of you can read a map?
I can.
I
Okay.
can read a map.
How many? Okay,
Yeah.
good. That's okay. How many of you know how to plant a garden, even with these GMO seeds? With or without
I
these
plan on
GMO
without
seeds?
GMO seeds.
I
Okay.
can't.
I go
I've
without
never
GMO
seen.
seeds. I know how to
I've
butcher.
I
never
would
seen.
need to shadow somebody for that. I do not know how to do that.
Right.
But
I know
I
how to
want
I've
to
till.
only
I know
I've
how
only
to.
ever
person here.
grown I've only ever grown weed.
Hey,
Yeah, we.
Well,
that's a nice start.
that's a good start.
That's a good start, definitely. If you can actually grow
That's
That's a
weed,
a
damn good
crop.
start. I have,
But
I have
still,
another.
I still can't grow food. It's not the same thing.
well, yeah, trust me. If you can grow weed and keep it and maintain it, you can grow some
You
food
can
and keep
get
it and
food.
maintain it.
Right.
Yeah.
You can definitely
Now,
do it.
on to the next series of questions. How many of you can fish with or without a fishing rod?
I can. That's my
Okay.
favorite thing.
I can't. I
I
can't.
love fishing.
love,
MiGTOW
I
fishing.
love
That's pretty
I
fun.
fishing.
I've learned to use
Yeah,
a
I can.
grenade in the recent years.
I love fishing, man.
Right. How many of you can actually make
I can
gravy
use a
from
net.
scratch? Gravy
What?
from
Hmm?
scratch. How many of
What?
you
I can
can
make
actually
gravy
make?
I can make
I can
gravy
make
from
gravy from
scratch.
scratch. I can make
Yeah,
crust from
same here.
scratch. I can make flour. I can make
No.
bread from scratch. I can make
Hmm.
pasta from scratch. I can make rice from scratch.
Hmm.
I
Like
think
if
Not
you
rice
you're
from
like
scratch,
if
but
you
yeah, I
kill
can
a
actually
deer, do you
grow
know how to
rice.
dress it? If you
Yeah,
kill a deer, do you know how to dress it?
yeah.
You take first.
Hmm.
You know how to, without nicking the gut. Without nicking the gut.
Yeah, I do. Shoot.
You
Plus, my
can just
farm has
eat
a bunch of cows.
McDonald's, you
Plus,
know.
my farm has a bunch of cows and chickens on it any damn way. I don't like chicken, but if the shit goes south, I will be. I'll be the first nigga on TV eating chicken. Like, motherfuckers got me
It
out here eating
just
some fucking chicken and shit. I'll be mad as hell, but I be eating that chicken though.
I just think that we as a well, I'm not gonna speak for my whole generation, but the
I can't
people
dress
that
a
I know
deer,
that are
but I
around my
can
age, it just
slay
feels
a
like different
cottontail.
shit is important, like overnight. Like overnight, whatever goal you had was no longer a goal anymore. Whatever aim that you had, everything that you desired is altered by this, and it'll be forever altered because of the way that we'll get used to communicating, the way that we'll get used to living. Like, I don't think social distancing is going anywhere for a long time.
Social distancing is, as I said, I do believe that social distancing is a conditioning for the next phase because
Yeah,
correct. So
social di-
this
social
is
essentially,
the next
social
phase.
distancing is here to stay. Pretty much,
the
and the sad part about
breakdown,
that is what a lot of people fail to realize is they've already done social distancing with us with this social media shit.
We like China. Yeah, people don't communicate in person no
Yeah,
more.
no, the social
well,
distancing has been going
here's
on
the
for a
thing.
very long time. So I don't know why
The
you act
farmer,
shocked when your government's talking about social distancing. You've been doing it the whole entire time with your Instagrams, your Facebooks, your
right.
Snapchats, on all this shit.
But here's the
Well, I don't
thing.
have any of
The
those.
chickens are
I
not
know. I'm just
the
saying though.
chickens are not doing it fast enough. So the
Yeah,
farmer's got to crack the whip. In order to crack the whip, the farmer's got to
You,
make an action
you
that's going to
also got
get
to
the
put
chickens'
fear.
attention. So
And
here's all the chickens squabbling, doing their own thing. They're talking about each other. Oh wow, your feathers are really beautiful today. Blah blah blah. I see that you got your claws done. I see that your beak has been properly trimmed. Blah blah blah. So all the chickens are worried about that, right? And the farmer's like, you guys need to shut the fuck up and worry about, you know, working out. You need to make your lives better. You need to be healthier, and you need to, be a little bit more productive. So this is a farmer cracking the whip. That's why I said he's spoon feeding your medicine.
we are
And,
the
I'm
Yeah,
master.
happy. Honestly, I'm
he's
happy
telling
about it.
you
If
how
that's the
to.
case, then that's beautiful. Like, let's keep it real. It's fucking beautiful. Like, how many of us are willing to it's something unrelated, but how many of us are actually willing to die to protect the rights that we've gained here?
like I said,
I
like
only
I
a
said in the last
handful.
live stream, only 5% of us are
We
willing
don't
to
have
do
any
that.
We are
rights.
dying.
Only
Yeah,
five
few and
percent.
far.
Thank you.
And you know what? The funny thing
Thank
about
you.
it,
And sad part about
that
that is I'm gonna even
discussion.
elaborate on that shit even more. Because the sad part about that is like I always hear these people always talk about how they would do something if this was happen. And the sad part about that, you'll hear them say in the same breath, "Well, I don't want to. I don't want to have to,
Shut the
but
fuck
if I have
up.
to, I was like, you ain't finna do shit. If you don't want to have to, but you have to, you ain't
You
finna
ain't
do
going
shit.
to.
Because
Let me tell you something here.
I know for a fact, I'll pull the trigger on any person who's a threat. Like I said in the live stream before, if the U.S. government came to me and told me that one of my children were a or an ISIS terrorist, I'd be the first person on the plane pulling the trigger, without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt.
But for me, it's like I was never put in that situation.
Yeah.
I was put in situations similar to it, and I've had somebody literally had to pull me off of them
Hmm.
before I did it, and I still sleep well. So, and I literally was willing to. I mean, there was many situations where I was more than willing to end somebody,
Hmm.
but somebody pulled me off of them. You know.
Yeah, I've been put in situations where, like, I've been actually put in, unlike
I
these
don't
cops
think
out here in the
dying
streets that
for
always talk shit about it was him or me. I've actually been put in situations where it was literally him or me. It wasn't the fact that, oh, I was scared for my life. No, somebody was going
It
to
was
die if nobody made any actions out of that whole
yeah.
entire thing, and it was either him
Well,
or me, literally.
right.
Unlike with these cops say, well, I was scared. I fear for my life. No, nigga, you ain't really fear for your life. You don't know what it is like to fear for your life.
Right.
this is going to sound really bad, but I
That
mean,
part.
it's not dying for our values. That's the problem. It's that a lot of people are able to their skirt justice when they have values that ought to have them. When they try to get away with doing
None
stuff,
of that
and
even
we aren't
none of
willing
that
to.
even matters
We
no
aren't willing
more.
to cut the.
Be-
We're not willing
Let me
to cut the cord.
let me
Yeah,
break this to
They're
you.
letting people out of jail. None of that shit even matters no more. Let's just keep it
yeah,
Right.
true.
real. They're opening up hotels for homeless people. None of that shit matters anymore.
Let me break this to you.
Yeah.
With the way I see the
Like
way.
all of this philosophical, not bull,
The
but
sad
all of
part
this
about the thing that
philosophical
agitates
shit.
me
None of
about
that
that,
shit matters anymore.
all that shit that, and the sad part about that, all that stuff that all the stuff, and the sad part about all that stuff that pisses me off the most is all this money that you're going to spend for finally housing the homeless. Oh my God, we should have been doing that from like day one or something like that. How you the most
Yep.
powerful country in the world, but you got a bunch of motherfuckers on your streets.
Let me
But you send the money to all these other countries that ain't shit.
let me
But you got
break this
all these
to you.
homeless people on the streets. Think about that shit. Like, how are you
Yep.
the most powerful country in the world? You got all these motherfuckers on the streets, but we helping countries that don't give a fuck about us and will probably turn a gun on us in a heartbeat. But you won't help the homeless people on your streets. Or better yet, why can't you use that money to fix your fucking infrastructure? I'm getting
Let me
tired of
break.
driving in the United States and riding over a fucking pothole and having to take my fucking car to go get fixed. Fix some of that
Hmm.
shit.
Yeah.
Fix some of that shit. Matter of fact,
you know
finish the projects and fixing all these bridges that was considered not safe to use or close to not being safe to use. So we
you
won't
know
have
what
another incident like we had in that one state where the bridge collapsed on everybody, killing everybody. How
Yep.
about we
you know
put
what
some of that money towards that shit?
you know what gets me? You know what gets me? That these young fucking millennials, that all these people that claim to be fucking badass, all these people that won't even bust a grape in a food fight are going to sit there.
They
Are
wouldn't even
going,
fight their way out. They can't even fight their way out of a wet paper bag. Come on now.
No.
Bust a
now,
grape in a food fight.
but hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Are going to do this. My grandfather fought in World War II. Both of my uncles fought in the Korean and Vietnam War. I'm a modern day vet. You know what gets me? That my whole pretty much my whole family, including me, is serving a place that are literally surrendering their fucking rights. That my grandfathers and my
That
uncles literally
reminds me
and
of a
me I
joke.
literally fucking bled for.
Mm-hmm.
Literally fucking bled for. And that pisses me off thoroughly. I mean, I'm I'm livid when I hear the argument of first, second, any of the amendments. Any of the amendments. But none of these motherfuckers are gonna do anything about it. They're full of shit. I can't like said, let me break this to you. My hands are tied. The people who are in uniform, our hands are tied. Unless you do something, unless you say something, unless you do something. Our hands are fucking tied. We have no legs to stand on. I'm sick, and you know what? I
Well,
am
okay.
sick and tired of being powerless to do anything
I think
against
so.
injustice of the
So you,
goddamn
you say
government.
you have no leg to stand on, and meanwhile, that guy says that philosophy doesn't matter. I see a great disconnect here,
Right.
in that the thing that we stand on is a firm foundation and a philosophy that actually unites everybody and doesn't cause us to fire shots and shoot people and knock people off and get jealous that what somebody else is standing on is not what is something that we want, and we try to push them off of what they stand on.
But the
Because
thing is,
if we really
That
look
part
at it,
about that,
the reason
Yam, is
why
that's
the
actually
six of
happening
us are
right now
here,
as we speak with people.
the
They're
reason,
literally,
yeah, the
they're
reason,
literally jealous of people and what they stand on. Like a good example of that is, anytime I've worked in the United States, people are always mad about the fact that I stand on culture.
sorry to cut you
I
off.
stand on my foundation for the most part.
but
People in
hear me
America
out.
get mad about shit like that
Hear
on a
me out.
regular fucking basis. I don't know
Hear
how
me
many
out.
times I've been told to speak English. This is America, or I've overheard conversations with my coworkers saying, "We need to get these immigrants out of here." Bitch, I'm
Here,
an immigrant. Well, not you, Tico, not you. No, bitch, I'm an immigrant.
let me say something here. Let me say something real quick. The thing is, the fact it's frustrating that we are all in different fucking books, not on different pages. We're on different fucking books.
True story.
Yeah, and
We
that,
are,
yep, because of
and it
language.
pisses me off that they're trying that we're literally trading books and I want this book, you give me this book. Like, what the fuck? It's one thing. It's one thing if you're not on the same page in the same book, but when you're in a different fucking book, it's just basically it's causing it. Basically, that's another reason my hands are tied.
Yeah, it's kind of like that one.
Goddamn
It's kind of like that one Jamaican proverb. Right church, wrong pew.
Pretty much.
Yeah, right
Literally,
church,
that's what
left
it's
pew.
literally right church, wrong pew. But yeah, it's just stuff like that. People don't even realize, like, because the sad part about that, like, there's really people in America only have foundation to stand on when everything is fine and perfect and we're in a perfect situation. The minute they get rocked, there's no foundation to stand on and everybody gets selfish. That's the problem. Like, their foundation is only conditional to what they can get and what they're being provided for and how they can actually get ahead in life. The minute that gets rocked, that foundation disappears.
Mine.
Now the thing is, like,
Yeah, literally, that's what it is. Like with double I saying, mine.
and
It's kind of like, it's kind of like good example of that is if a good example of that is if I was to ask my one toddler, because she's exactly like that. Whose cookie is this? Mine. You see what I'm saying? That's basically toddler behavior. Mine. Yeah, like no, it's not yours. It's not your cookie. It's not your cookie. Stop it.
And social media has amplified it.
Literally. And
Yeah.
everybody thinks they're Instagram models. Everybody thinks they're superstars. Everybody thinks they're popular, and everybody thinks very highly of their fucking selves for the most part.
I hope to God I never get popular. I don't want to be. I hope to God I never get popular.
Yeah.
You know?
You don't want to be popular, man. You really don't.
Because of being popular means that I've got to give up myself, just my ass.
Yeah,
dude,
I look at it like
embrace.
this. I'm not because like even if I get
lifestyle.
popular, I will always be the same person. I'm not going to change for any damn body. If me with a billion subs or me with 100 subs or me with 1,000 subs or me with 1,000,000,000,000 subs, I'm not going to change for anybody. So don't expect. Well, he got subs now, so he should be different now. No, I'm not changing for you. I'm going to do the same old Trend shit.
When I said philosophy doesn't matter, I didn't necessarily mean it in that context.
You did it in
because
irony,
I
right?
do.
Like you mentioned.
Yeah, it is an irony, but it's when I said that, I meant like as far as these philosophical pursuits of life, like to like it's not a trade. Like philosopher is a something that you do in your own time. It's not nothing. It's not a. It's not a. It shouldn't be a paid profession. It's something that we should do on our own time.
Right.
It's not essential.
And you know the funny thing about it? There are people out there taking philosophies and monetizing them. That guy.
Take literature.
Wait. That guy. Can you give? I know you can give me an example.
Huh?
Like example of what?
Well, that's smart.
Of how philosophies are being monetized.
Look, if you can monetize anything, I'm
they
all
should
for
be
that. I believe in the free market, man. If you can monetize anything, by all means, go ahead and do it. I'm talking about as far as the individualistic goal of life. Like, if you can monetize it, by all means, go ahead. If you could turn it into resources, go ahead. But at the end of the day, if it's not bringing in resources, you shouldn't be wasting your time with it. Like, you have to do the things that are essential to life.
Right.
Do you have
Yeah.
toothpaste?
Do you know how to make toothpaste?
I don't know how to make toothpaste.
I know how to make toothpaste.
All right.
Without fluoride.
You know, that's what I mean. I'm not saying that philosophy doesn't matter because I think there should be a code of life. I'm just speaking about as far as making that your pursuit of a way to get resources. Like you wanting to be a singer-songwriter is not a viable option anymore.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's
So
philosophy
you
in
should
the middle.
monetize yourself.
You wanted to be an Instagram model is not really, well, it's viable if people pay for you, but if people don't got the money to go back to work, then it's not really all that valuable to you no more.
Thank you.
Right.
Like what can you, like, what skill do you have? Like, can you weld? Can you fucking build? Can you fucking kill your own fucking food?
I can't. I mean, I
Can you prepare your own food? Like, there's a lot
all those
to that
vegans.
shit.
All those fucking vegans? Are you considering eating protein now?
Or all those vegans? Are you considering growing your own farm right now?
Come on. Like how important is it to live in a suburban, like in an urban area?
It's not important anymore.
It's not.
It's in fact,
it's really not.
dangerous.
It's never really been important. But people like being in a city because they like the ambiance and the status and being in that city for the most part. It's kind of like how women move to New York
and the
thinking
availability
they're
of
going to make
goods.
it like they're freaking they're going to make it like that one show Sex in the City.
I think to me it just feels like Atlas Shrugged to me. That's all I'm saying. I read a lot, and to me this just seems like, I could hear this being a logical conversation in Congress. Right. Do you need 100 acres?
For me, it's like
asking private people, do you need 100 acres?
100 acres.
Do you need 20 acres?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's the conversation that I'm scared of. That's
the sad part about that conversation. I don't think that conversation would ever happen in Congress, considering that they're selling off actual public land to people and companies. Like they're selling off actual, the actual national park lands. They're actually selling them off to like oil companies, pharma companies, and other places like that for the most part. Hell, the cartels even bought national land from the government.
Who gave you jurisdiction? That's the question. See, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be a whole different dynamic, a whole different way of looking at it. Like, who gave you the right to do that? Like, are we going to go back?
The sad part about that is, you got to take consideration, that guy. It's the U.S. government. They believe they can do anything they want, even though the fact, granted, it's public property. Yes, it's supposed to belong to the people, but the government's selling off public property to various people, like the big pharma companies, like the oil companies, like the mineral companies, and the mining companies, and the cartel.
Tico. All right, I think it's going to go back to the argument that Tom Locke had back in the day in the 1500s, the argument over public and private property. Like, and the argument had to do with, are you mixing your own labor with it? That's what made it yours. If your particular labor, your effort wasn't put into it, you weren't able to own it. And I think that's going to be the next argument.
Well, that argument won't, like I said, the argument won't really matter because the U.S. government thinks they are the people. And the people of the United States actually gave them this power to think that they are the people, and we can care less about public lands until it's gone, and then realize, well, I can't go to Yosemite no more because it's owned by BP or ExxonMobil, or shit like that, basically. And the sad part about that, by the time Americans wake up, it's going to be too late to even remotely fight against this shit.
Do you know that the government of China owns the wildlife on the land? What if they pulled some shit like that here to where
they've already done it? They've already been doing it. If you kill an elk, yeah, like they've already done it. They're doing it now, is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, this is public land alone. This is nothing but public land alone. Like, you can't really. I don't think you can really hunt. And can you hunt in national parks?
Nope.
Yeah, so
No.
let that sink in. You can't hunt in national parks now, but like if they keep selling off the land to these various entities, then we're not going to be able to go to. They're not going to be called national parks no more. It's going to be called Exxon Mobil. It's going to be called
I think
Sinaloa
that's why I think
Cartel Farming, or Big
that's why I
Pharma
say the
Farming.
argument is going to be made for public or private property, because at the end of the day, a corporation is not a person, and ownership is going to have to go back to ownership of
According to the
actual
United
live
States
person.
government and Mitt Romney, a corporation is a person,
And that's the problem that we're having right now.
and they
Public and private property.
Yeah, and the sad part about that is those corporations do get a social security number just like the regular human being.
You understand me now?
Yeah.
That's where I'm kind of
on.
taking it.
I think you guys are misconstruing some things here. Your birth certificate, when you're born in the States, your birth certificate is a corporation. There's like a I forgot exactly what figure, but essentially you have a social security number, $1 million backing you up on your business, and anytime anybody sues you, they're not suing you, they're suing the social security number. So essentially every one of us that has a social security number in the States has a social security number because we are a business. When you go to the court can't address you unless you identify yourself as the business on your social security number card, right? So if you say all right, I'm just going to use Tico as an example, right? So if you say Tico Tren, okay, and you're saying, okay, Tico Tren is not really Tico Tren, that's his different name. And then you look up Tico Tren, and Tico Tren is, I don't know, Miles James or something like that. I'm just throwing a name out there, right? And Miles James Dickinson, as a matter of fact, is his full name. Let's just say that, Miles James Dickinson. And Miles James Dickinson's social security number is here, X. Okay, so if Miles James Dickinson is X, and I want to sue Miles James Dickinson, I'm not going to sue Tico Tren. I got to sue Miles James Dickinson. So I'm going to attack his social security number because that's his business. And that's how the court system works. You, as a living person, are not the business of your name. So if anybody who's in the States right now, whip out your state issued ID, your driver's license or whatever, and look at your name. It's in all capital letters. So is your name on the social security card. So is your name on all your fucking bills, because that is a business that you are doing business for. You are not, you are not the name on your social security card. Remember, we had this conversation before. The Bible didn't have last names. People in the Bible didn't have last names. That's a construct. Wake up, people. Wake up.
Yeah, family names.
Yes.
Jesus had a last name.
Damn it, can-petey, why do you have to...
Jesus Christ. That was.
But of
his last name is
Nazareth.
Christ.
Of Nazareth, right? After that
Jesus
age,
Christ
after that
from
era,
Nazareth.
how did everyone say? I'm not double I of Argentina.
Jesus of the house of David.
There you go.
And this is another thing that always bothered me about it, because when people always talk about how this and this, and they would do this and this, that, and the other. The problem with a lot of people in the United States that I've noticed, and nobody wants to admit this shit, and it pisses me off because they always dance around this shit in the United States, is people only care when stuff happens. People only care when that person looks like them, or they can identify with that person. So if the person doesn't look like them, they don't care about what's going on with that person. They'll basically say something.
MiGTOW.
Yeah, like my favorite argument that everybody always uses is like, well, black people, you should have listened to the cop. You should have got on the ground. You should listen to the cop. Now, the minute that one nurse from was it Las Vegas got arrested, and that yoga teacher got shot, then people started being up in arms like, well, I can't believe the police are doing this. They've been doing this the whole entire time, the black people. And the
But
sad
see,
part
we
about
as
it is,
black people though, got to change though. Let's just keep it real. Like,
no, it's not even that though. I'm sorry. That's not even a good excuse to use. I mean, they need to change, yes, but shooting somebody while you're sitting on top of them and they can't move doesn't really scream like, oh, you were right. I'm sorry.
but
Like
this is
shooting
the thing,
somebody in the
Tico.
back, shooting people in the back doesn't really. Look, I look at it like this. If you're actually threatened, then shoot the person. If you're not threatened and the person's running away from you and you're being too lazy to fucking run and chase the person,
Hey,
then you're
Tico,
being a lazy bastard.
Tico, the Bible says, remember them that have rule over you. So if a motherfucker tells you to fucking stop and put your fucking hands up, put your fucking hands up.
Well, the sad part about that is there's a lot of people that put their hands up and they ended up in a casket. So what's your point?
Hey.
Yeah.
My favorite one was the one guy who they told when the cops were, the one cop yelled to him, get on the ground. The other guy yelled, get on your knees. The other one yelled, get on the ground. And he was trying to do both and he got shot.
Yeah. It's not
like,
the cops that are interpolating you to follow the godly law. It's you who are provoking them to follow their conscience and do the right thing, and they dispel it. And they actually because of fear, because of the lack of understanding of what somebody else is going through.
It's not even fair.
But we can't talk all that shit if whenever we encounter a cop, we get defensive and we want to act like a dick, talking about we know our rights and shit. I'm talking about me as a black man.
I'm gonna counter that with this argument. There's white people on YouTube that do the same thing and get more irate and get in the cop's face and they don't end up shot.
But they don't rule them though.
Okay,
they rule us.
My point exactly. White people. There's a lot of white people on YouTube that don't end up shot doing that same stupid shit. So I'm gonna need them to keep the same energy across the board.
This the thing though. They are Caesar. We're ruled by Caesar.
Yeah,
so you have to remember that you're being ruled by Caesar. So when Caesar says get the fuck down, you get your black ass down.
But the problem is though, what your argument is, there's a lot of niggas that got down and then still ended up now they're down in the ground now because of this shit. It doesn't matter.
All right. Let's keep it real, Tico. I'm talking about on a self case by case basis. If a cop pulls you over and you know and he requests this and that, you know what I'm saying? Okay, just be courteous.
Yeah, but the sad part about that is we could talk about being courteous, but when you end up dead being courteous, there's a problem with that. There was some type of disconnect that always happened when you ended up dead being courteous. That's the problem. Because I look at it like this. There's a reason why if you go to a white neighborhood, the cops are nice. They treat everybody like they treat everybody. They know everybody in the neighborhood. They talk to people. In a black neighborhood, they don't have that same communication. They used to way back in the day. They don't have that no more. The cops look at you like you're a criminal. Hell, as a matter of fact, my favorite time was when I used to work in the Hill District. I remember I was actually going to school in Duquesne University, and the cops were rounding up people and actually lining up against the wall and trying to give them charges. This one cop, because he was upset with me, decided to throw me up against the wall and said, that cocaine belongs to me. I had to go to court for some cocaine that didn't belong to me while I was on my way to Duquesne University. Let that shit sink in. So you can't tell me that shit like this is actually real when I'm not even from this country and I've experienced more of this shit than anybody should actually ever experience. You're talking to a nigga. You're talking to a nigga that sat in jail for 2 weeks because he was accused of rape. Meanwhile, he's at a library.
You're also talking to somebody who got shot by the police.
And then, not to sound overly critical, but it's like I feel like of your point, that guy. But it seems that you're firing shots at people who are necessarily innocent. Like
I'm not firing shots at nobody, Yams. I'm not firing shots at nobody, Yams. What I'm saying is that this is what I'm saying. I know how combative
I'm not seeing him firing shots.
People are. I know how, as a people, how combative we are when we're confronted by anybody, police, any type of authority.
Well, the sad part about that though is who made it this way. Who doesn't have the proper relationship with your community to make it this way.
I'm not saying.
If you go to a white neighborhood, the cops all talk to everybody, wave people out of the car and shit like that. You go to a black neighborhood, you don't even get that same energy from cops. Let's just keep it 100.
No, you do not.
So, because the minute you can actually, as a cop, can actually engage your community then it would change the whole entire behavior of everybody. Because if you can't engage your community properly and you want to act like the criminals already off the bat, no. I understand what you're saying.
My mindset is different. I want to prove to you that I don't fit that stereotype.
Yeah, the sad part about that is, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, cops need to engage the community like they do for white people. And the minute they start doing that, then black people will see them much differently. It's just facts.
I agree.
I'm exactly.
There's no debating that right there, man.
I agree.
There's no debating that at all. Because like, if it's kind of like this. It's kind of like this. If I don't know you, it's kind of like this to put it on a micro scale. If I don't know you, I'm going to be combative with you. If you're coming at me crazy, I'm going to be combative with you. Hell, there's people in this chat right now who sent me text messages when I gave them my number, and the first thing I say is, "Who this?"
This the thing, Tico. I'm getting to a point to where I'm starting not to feel sorry for you unless you're doing everything in your power to prevent the conflict. Like if
the sad part about that, it doesn't matter if you prevent the conflict. Like I said, that poor guy in Las Vegas got shot in the top of his fucking head because the one cop even bragged about he can't wait to use his new AR in the fucking video. Like, this poor white guy got shot in the top of his head. He was innocent. He's trying to pull up his pants and crawl toward the cop, and they shot him in the top of his fucking head.
Look, there's always going to be outliers, and there's just some things that aren't preventable. But we can do, as a people, the maximum prevention possible.
It doesn't matter how much prevention you have. If you let a certain group of people get away with shit for a very, very long time, they continue to try to get away with shit for the rest of their fucking lives. It's kind of like a good example of that is when I always say about history always repeating itself. First it was black people, now it's white people. It always happens that way. First, I don't understand, kind of like the stop and frisk thing. It was funny when it was black people, you didn't want to believe it. Okay, cool. But when it started happening to white people, all of a sudden we want to crack down and stop this shit now.
Funny you mentioned that, but that's an excellent example.
Yeah, my favorite is
excellent example.
But that guy, let me finish this real quick by saying this.
What do you tell your son to do when he's
It doesn't matter what I tell my son to do. It's a matter of what the cop is actually going to do to my son. But that's neither here nor there.
I agree.
Let me actually finish it by preferencing this. It's kind of like the drug epidemic we got going on today. Back in the day when black people were going through this shit in the inner city, they said, I don't understand why black people are going through this stuff. They need to quit these drugs. They need to get off these drugs. The minute it started affecting white people, now we got to open up these retreatment centers that are like so ridiculously overpriced that black people can't afford, and we got to open up all these rehab centers, and we got to do all this stuff, and we got to make the rehab accept our insurance companies and all this great shit. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but when it was black people,
they doing his rehab shit.
Now white people actually go through the shit. Now it's a problem. Now we got to fix this now.
It's actually a good case study because there are things, and it's true what he's saying about black people suffering problems and then white people suffering the same problems and starting initiatives. Because Tico is basically a case study of like the Latin American world, which is going to become a majority of the American world now. And it's like, we're not addressing any of the problems that the Latin world is bringing up in regards to American society until it's going to be too late, until white people start actually seeing
what a lot of black people don't realize is the Latin Americans are now the new minority in America. So you're no longer the go-to minorities anymore. They go to Latin.
Right.
They go to Latins now because
like
16% of the population now and rising.
This is another. Man, that's crazy, and that's the point that I was trying to dance around a little bit.
The black population is shrinking. The black population is shrinking drastically.
Yep.
The white population is staying stable. As much as everybody always want to run around talking shit, as much as everybody want to talk shit, the white population is actually staying stable. It's been stable at 67 for the longest fucking time. It hasn't decreased.
This is the thing, though. We're the ones that are being hunted, right? And we understand this as black men. We're the ones that are being hunted. So, like, we understand that there are things that we are not going to be able to control, but we need to control absolutely everything that we can.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you 100%. So even if I tell my son to be careful outside, Lord, who's to say that a cop ain't going to take his because like it's the joke I always make about the
ask
whole
for permission to go in your pocket.
Like, no, it's the sad part about that is what I'm trying to say is, like, it's funny how we always talk about how all this stuff is, but oh damn, I lost the thought I was going to say. Shit.
Ask
But,
for
when that
permission to
happens.
go in your pocket. That's where we at now. As black men, you have to ask for permission to go
in
into your pocket.
And the sad part about
Ask
that
for
is,
permission to go into your glove.
yeah. Yeah, because I remember the one time when a black guy got pulled over, he goes, "Can I have your license and registration?" He had his arms up. He goes, "Can I reach for my glove compartment? It's in my glove compartment. Can I reach for it?" And he kept on asking permission. He goes, "Yes, hurry up, get it." And like, I'm just making sure. I don't want you to shoot me because it's in my glove compartment, and I want to get it, and I want to be shot. He goes, "I'm not going to shoot you. Just get it, or I'm going to shoot you." I'm like,
Right.
"Damn, well, you told me you're not going to shoot the man. Like the fuck, like
You still have, but that's where we are now. And if that's where we are right now, and you're fucking, I know my rights, I don't feel sorry for you, motherfucker.
Well, the sad part about that is you'll see a lot of videos of white people on YouTube saying the same damn thing and
They're
getting
not
away
ruled
with
by
it.
Caesar, or we are.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. It's funny how when person look,
Hey,
it goes
I got
back
a
to
question for Wind right now.
it goes back to
I got a
the
question
it goes
for
back to the initial argument when I was saying when people only care when it's people that look like them. So if it happened to black people and they're not black, they don't care about you. When it happened to white people and it's a white person that sees it, now they care. It's just facts.
This is the thing about black people. We need to stop using our blackness as an excuse to be racist, because that's what the fuck we're doing, and we've always done it.
I don't really
We've
care
done
about
it
that
since
shit.
fucking
I don't really care about
9/11.
that shit
We've
because
done it.
at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, I'm still going to be called a nigger anyway, at least once a week in America. It's just facts.
That doesn't give us the right
I
to
know.
start looking at Asians or looking at the Arabs and calling them turban heads and shit, or looking at anybody, because we do that shit. We talk
Yeah, the
shit
sad part about that
the
though
dude
is
at the liquor
like
store.
the sad part, yeah, but what you don't realize, that guy, is we only do it because white people do it too.
Yeah, we're emulating them since we're
That
not the
part.
minority anymore. Yeah,
Correct.
That
and
part.
I got a question for Wind. Yo, Wind, does any cop ever pull you over when you're in the big truck?
When you're alive,
Make
man.
Wind is out cold.
And that's my point, because I know he's going to say no. But that's the thing, is that
He's sleeping in that sleeper berth.
Exactly. We're not willing to adapt. And actually, if you're going to get pulled over by driving your nice car, hell, what do you need? What do you need to go drive for? I mean, I know we there's such a thing as going to the airport and flying, but at the same time, you could just order anything that you need to grab out like online, and you don't risk getting pulled over if that's how your area is. And we don't really see the right path to take.
When people always laugh at me, and I go, I have a Morgan Super Sport, but I don't drive it all the time because I get pulled over in my Morgan Super Sport. Why do I get pulled over in my Morgan Super Sport? Because DWB, nigga. That's why. Like, I've because there's been times when I've been in Pittsburgh driving my Morgan Super Sport, and I've been pulled over 4 times within 3 blocks. 4 times within 3 blocks.
Hey, Tico, this the cold part. With all of this Rona shit popping off, it don't matter no more.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying,
it don't matter no more.
I know it don't matter no more, but the fact of the
about
matter is, I'm just basically actually letting you know the unfair shit that I actually got to go through on a daily basis that makes it so, like, really, dude, you're treating me like this? A cop just pulled me over a block ago. A cop just pulled me over the last light. Like, are you serious? And the sad part about that, they do this shit so often, it's
National
ridiculous.
Guard?
Huh?
Do you trust the cop over the National Guard? Because that's who's going to be the police in the week when they're done positioning the equipment wherever the fuck they want them. It's going to be the National Guard instead of the police.
I really don't. The sad part about that, I'm gonna say this. I don't really trust any of them, but at the same time, I'm also not in America right now, so whatever happens, happens.
I'm telling you, once they get their fucking assets in place, they're gonna lock this whole shit down, just like they did Washington. And then what?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not in America right now, so I can't really say any much about that because I don't trust any of them motherfuckers. I don't trust anybody in uniform. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust a politician. I don't trust my mom's side of the family. Hell, I don't trust my mom's side of the family. I don't trust a politician. I don't trust a cop. I don't trust anybody.
I mean, I'm not in military, but if I understand correctly, I don't think that our military can deploy any of our 4 branches on our own soil. That is only for foreign soil. So if I'm correct,
they actually can. They can.
Have to walk
It's
the
called the
dog.
reserves. It's kind
the
of like
National Guard, correct?
Yeah, the reserves are the National Guard, basically.
Is essentially controlled by the states, though.
Yeah.
Each
So
state
they can
has
actually
their own
deploy them.
national
They can
guard.
actually deploy them anytime they want to. And each
Yeah.
branch has their version of the National Guard. So don't be
Yeah.
shocked
So
if you
the
got Marines
federal
walking down your street and somebody else got Army walking down their street.
government can only patrol federal land.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of like
in
the CIA.
in
It's kind of
dealing with American citizens and stuff like that, the National Guard steps in.
It's kind of like the difference between the CIA and the FBI. The CIA can only operate outside of the United States. If they're operating within the United States, they need to have the FBI attached to them. The FBI only operates within the United States, but every now and again you'll see them outside the United States doing some stupid shit.
And so this is my thing, right? So if we know that, and we know that the National Guard is for the defense of our land on this soil, and so do we, and seeing as the National Guard is made up from the people from which they're derived from, can we trust them more than we trust the cops?
No.
No.
Okay then.
Because here's the thing. The cops are trained in an absolute way to deal with you. So they've picked up some bad habits, killing people and everything like that. But cops are still, in a sense, trained to deal with the civilization or people in a civil manner, in a sense, right? The National Guard is trained to deal with civilians in a different way.
Yeah, they're trained to
Let's
put.
just leave it at that.
It's a good example of this.
And what's the difference?
The police are trained to actually cultivate and farm, whereas the National Guard is trained to hunt and kill.
Right. That's a more blunt way to put it.
You see them? That's basically the best way I can give it to you. The police are basically trained, even though they're shooting people right now and doing stupid shit and picked up bad habits. I don't have any malice against them. Do you, boo boo? They're trained to basically cultivate. They're basically trained to cultivate and farm, whereas the National Guard is trained to kill.
Tico, right now, Wuhan is going to come out of lockdown on April 7th. That means they've been on lockdown for 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like on American soil?
It's not what that looks like on American soil is a bunch of sputting around and people acting stupid and not knowing. I think the honest to God truth, I think U.S. is probably going to be on lockdown for another 6 to 8 to probably 18 more months, to be honest with you, before they come out of lockdown. It's just sad, and it's the core truth, but it's just facts. And until people actually act like they got some damn sense and stop actually follow and listen to people, so we won't spread this shit and people do things properly and not like imbeciles running around like chicken with their head cut off. We should do this, and giving a bunch of confusing information. It's going to be like this for a while. It's going to be like this for a while. It's kind of like what I said about the cops, the two cops. One's yelling. It's basically your government right now. One person's yelling, "Get on the ground, get on your face and get on the ground." The other one's yelling, "Get on your knees." So like you're getting mixed information from your government for the most part. So by getting mixed information from your government, you're going to be naturally confused. And while you're actually confused, you're not going to know who to look for and who to trust, because you got one government official telling you to get on the ground and get on your face. You got another one saying get on your knees.
Tico. So this is where I'm trying to steer it, right? So right now the federal government lacks the ability to enforce shit because federal land is basically fucking DC. So if we look logistically, how can you have a republic? Are we going to go from 100 countries or so to fucking 1,000 cities?
Well, the sad part about that is they got a National Guard big enough to do that. Hell, the police force can be actually militarized. Matter of fact, the police force is militarized. They've been militarizing the police force for the last since September 11th. Yeah, since September 11th.
Yeah, they've already been militarized.
They've already been militarized. They got militarized vehicles sitting at the police department.
Correct.
So they've been militarized for a while. So it's not going to be nothing for the police to come out and do stuff along with the MPs and the National Guard to actually lock shit down. They've been trained like this for a while. Hell, what the hell? Your college, your local colleges, their police officers are militarized.
Yeah.
Like if you're in Pittsburgh, Port Authority Police, they're militarized. UCLA Police, they're militarized. So think about this stuff. So they got enough people to actually do the shit if the state says this is what we're going to do.
So is this the end of our freedom? And if that's the case, what is this country going to look like in 5 years?
It's not. I'm not going to say it's the end of our freedom. It's going to
Whoa,
change the
whoa,
landscape
That's
whoa!
on.
exactly
You're
what it
wrong.
is.
No,
Hold
no,
on,
no.
Tico.
Let me
You're
finish,
wrong
Double I,
about that.
before you go. Let me
What
finish
it,
before you
no,
actually jump in. It's going to change the landscape on what we believe our freedoms are and what they should be. It's going to change that a lot. So we're going to lose some shit in the process. Like I said in the last live stream, with this shit, what are you willing to sacrifice? And we're going to sacrifice a lot of shit, and our freedom goalpost is going to move. Yes, it's going to move drastically. But the fact of the matter is, it's going to appear like we still have some freedoms while they're moving the goalpost, and they're going to continue to move the goalpost and see what we're willing to give up. Like I said, what are you willing to give up?
and that's what we need to identify, man, because every generation has their own struggle.
Yeah, that's the sad
Yeah.
part.
And
And the sad part about that is,
we're not immune to that as a millennials. We're not fucking immune to that shit.
yeah,
And we need to figure out, like, once they lift this lockdown, what is American life going to look like? What are we going to fucking care about? Because there's going to be a day when the boomers and the Gen X is fucking check the fuck out of here, and we're going to have to fucking govern this shit.
the sad part about that is the Gen Xers.
We're going to kick the bucket.
Yeah, the sad part about that is a lot of the boomers and Gen Xers actually went to
So
other
you
countries.
remember that thing called 9/11, right?
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the loss of your freedom.
Yeah, so you've been losing your freedom for a very, very long time. You just don't realize you're losing your
Right
freedom.
now, you're somewhere in the middle. We don't know exactly where you are in losing your freedoms, but you're somewhere in the middle. So essentially, where the end game is, Agenda 2030 could be a good start to look for the agenda, the end game. Agenda 21 obviously is not the end game because we've
do
already
we start
almost
homesteading?
met all the objectives.
Do we start homesteading?
You ain't gonna have no choice.
That's what everybody's.
You ain't gonna have no choice.
The choice is yours, bro.
But the sad part about that, the neat thing about that is something that I always laughed about is in America, apparently it's illegal to collect rainwater. Why is it illegal to collect rainwater? Like, let that sink in.
Yeah. Not just America, but other countries, some other countries too.
Like you can, like in Costa Rica, you can collect rainwater perfectly fine, and it'd be okay. All day.
It's a rainforest.
Well, not all. Well, yeah. Well, to some extent, no. But you can actually collect it and actually use it, filter it, and actually make water out of it. But other countries, there's other countries in Latin America where you're not allowed to do that either. But at the same time, think about that. Like, in Yam, you're having a problem getting in because it says your device is not connected. So you might have to go out and come back in. But yeah, that's the reality. That's the reality of the day. You've already lost all these privileges. The fact of the matter is you don't even realize you lost them. Like my favorite law in Pennsylvania is in Pennsylvania or Ohio. One of them got a law where you can't have a goat in your bathtub. Why do we have a law on the books saying that? What happened for us to have a law on the books doing this?
You don't want goat's blood going in because you don't want. They'll justify it saying you don't want goat's blood going into the water treatment facility. Some bullshit.
Well, no. The sad part about that is nobody actually killed the goat in their bathtub. Apparently, people were actually literally having goats in their bathtub. Like legit. Like nobody killed the goat in their bathtub. They literally had goats in their bathtub, and they were like raising goats in their bathtub.
Wow.
Oh no, man. Like, and then we look at countries like like countries like China, right? They actually farm wildlife.
Yeah.
They farm wildlife.
Yeah.
And China takes the approach of anything that you can do that's considered productive, just do whatever it takes to be considered productive, whatever can lift you out of poverty, fucking do that shit.
But the sad part about that is you can't do shit like that in the United States, though. You don't have those freedoms to do that in the United States. Because at some point it's going to come down to, well, that was controlled game, or that was on game land, or that was on game war land, or that was this, or that's this. Or that's illegal. Or my all-time favorite is you need a license to go hunting. And then certain parts of the year you can either go bow hunting or you can go or you go bow hunting or you can use this basically. And then there's ones where it's like, well, There's ones like where it says, well, now it's only, well, this time of year you can hunt bear. This time of year you can hunt deer. This time of year you can hunt turkey. This time of year you can hunt pheasant. You see what I'm saying? So it's all controlled. Everything's controlled.
So how do you enforce that now?
They do enforce it. They enforce it all the time, every year. I have to renew my daggone hunting license every year.
This is what I'm saying though. Like with all of these different things happening, like we could be in a situation where each state is its own country, and when that and it, what does that look like here?
That would never happen.
Where you don't have freedom
That would
of
never.
movement.
That would never happen if each state was its own country, because the United States.
Man, check this out. If each state's National Guard locks down each freeway outside of the fucking state, what can we do about it? That means each state is its own country now.
Well, the sad part about that, it's not its own country. It's united under one flag, basically. It's still united.
Each state has its own
United States will be no
constitution,
more.
man.
But the sad part about that is before
each.
No, but that's nice and all. That's nice to have all them dreams. But at the end of the day, they all have to answer to the federal government. Like all this shit that, like a good example of that is, it's good to smoke weed in California and Colorado. But if the U.S. government wanted to crack down on it, you could still go to jail because that's still a federal offense, no matter what. It's just facts. You can do all this shit within your own reason, but the federal law supersedes state law all the fucking time.
I agree with you, but if you don't have a way to enforce it, then how does it matter?
The fact of the matter is you do have a way to enforce it. That's why there's the National Guard. That's why you give each state the right to do that shit. But the sad part about the National Guard, but before you talk again, the thing about the National Guard is once it's initiated by the states, only Congress or the president can actually rescind it. Usually Congress was the ones that's supposed to rescind it, but usually the president says, it's done now. You can let them go now.
Tico.
That's exactly how it works.
Tico, let me ask you this question though, and this is where I'm alluding to. If Trump issues a direct order to California to do any motherfucking thing, I don't care what it is, and Gavin Newsom decides not to comply, what the fuck can Mr. Trump do about it? Outside of sending the presidential army, what can he do?
You do know there's a reason why they call him Commander in Chief, right?
I'm just saying.
I'm saying you do know there's a reason why they refer to him as Commander in Chief, right? Right?
Yeah, I do.
There's a reason. If he doesn't want to comply, he can actually be forced down or stepped down, and they would give somebody temporary reign over that. They would give somebody temporary governorship over that state to actually do what they need to do. It's just that simple. So Gavin could disappear today or tomorrow if he doesn't comply, if he pushes it enough. You see what I'm saying? So, like, we do this with whole entire countries. Trust me, we'll do this with a state. We'll install a whole entire dictator or install a whole entire president of another country. What the fuck do you think we'll do to a state? We'll do the exact same thing that we do with our foreign policy. It's just facts. People don't accept that. People don't understand that. But we'll do the exact same thing that we would do with our foreign policy because we'll treat it like it's a foreign thing.
Now this is what I'm getting to, Tico, because you're exactly 100% correct. So now this is what I'm saying. Society as we fucking know it is over. Like, and this is what I don't think. This is what I'm like understanding, and is giving me anxiety about it. There's no way shit goes back to the way it used to be.
Yeah, but I said that already. But like I told you, if you were listening, we're losing our rights no matter what. It's just a matter of how much we're willing to sacrifice. The sad part about that, it doesn't matter how this goes. They're always going to move the goalposts on what our freedoms and our rights are. The goalpost is being moved every single year on what we can do, what we can't do. The fact of the matter is, we're too busy over here talking about Instagram thoughts, e-thoughts. Here, take my money, ho. Amaranth. All these bitches over here. We're too busy being distracted about all this stupid shit. And what the fuck are stars wearing at a fucking on a fucking runway or at the fucking red carpet? We're distracted about all this shit, and they keep moving the goalposts while we're distracted about all this shit. It's just facts. They do it every single year. It doesn't matter. So you can't be shocked when you wake up tomorrow and you realize you no longer have rights to your own car, or your license, everybody's license has been revoked. You can't wake up shocked tomorrow if that shit happens, because the government does this on a regular basis. Like,
so if we're waking up today and this is Atlas Shrugged, so that means who the fuck is the guy who's making the metal then? Because that
That is the fucking leader of the fucking the leader of the society. The dude in Atlas Shrugged who made the fucking metal that built the train. Who's that guy?
And that would pretty much be the U.S. government. I wouldn't be shocked. Like a good example of that, like you say about China, I wouldn't be shocked if tomorrow or somewhere down the line we wake up tomorrow we find out that the government has 50 to 100 or to 90% shares in every single company in the United States of America, or they have 50 to 100% shares in Toyota or Chevy or Ford. I wouldn't be shocked if he woke up tomorrow and we found this shit out. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, that's legit what's going to happen eventually. Trump's already proposed this shit because people keep on getting it. All these companies keep getting into fucking debt. He's already proposed this shit already. So I wouldn't be shocked tomorrow if we find out that, let's just say, Chevy or Boeing or U.S. Air is a government-traded property now, or government-traded company for the most part, or a government-owned company. I would not be shocked if that happened. It is what it is. And these companies, they need to stop doing the stupid shit that they're doing with their money, and they wouldn't be in this predicament right now. Now they're looking down the barrel of being owned by a whole entire government.
And see, right now, our government is about to put a whole lot of relief money into the system. And the last thing I want to see is a bunch of share buybacks.
The sad part about that, that's going to
exactly
always
what's
happen.
Going to happen.
That's going to happen
exactly
all the time.
Happen.
They're going to do that all the time. It doesn't matter. Like, that's going to happen if you like it or not. Like, that's just economics 101. It's going to happen.
And that's the bullshit.
It is bullshit, but it's still going to happen, whether you like it or not. It's kind of like what was it? It's kind of like if it's going to happen no matter what. Like a good example of that is if, like, I don't want my one toddler to throw up, but if she's sick, she's going to throw up. It's going to happen. It's basically a cause and effect, basically. Because that little heifer's greedy as hell. She overeats. But yeah, it's going to happen no matter if you like it or not. And that's just how it works. Like I said, the government is slowly moving the goalposts on what our freedoms and rights are. It's only a matter of time before we get to the point when we realize and we all wake up from all this stuff, keeping up with the Kardashians and all this other stupid shit.
Like, we're going to be locked down for at least 4 months if we look at China as the fucking
Well, no, I think we're going to be because we got too many. No. I look at it like this: we're going to be locked down a lot longer than 4 months because we got way too many stupid people doing stupid shit. It's just facts. And the sad part about that, there's going to be those people out there that's going to exacerbate the situation and make it longer. It's kind of like how, like they say in the military, one person doesn't suffer, we all got to suffer because we're a team. Like, they're not going to just punish the one person. They're going to punish the whole entire squad or the whole entire platoon, basically, because they're a part of your team. You're all one person for the most part. It's just facts. So if 2 people or 3 people or 7 people cut up, we're going to have to suffer for all those people. We have to take accountability for those people.
Tico, are you a millennial or are you a latchkey kid?
I'm a latchkey kid.
Okay. So we as millennials and latchkey kids, because we probably maybe 10 years apart, what do we do as far as society? Like, what are our goals from now on? What the fuck do we want?
What do we?
Do we just want to be? Do we just want to be entertained?
Yeah, that's the sad part. That's all they want to do. The sad part about this generation and the generation after that is they basically do a lot of bullshit complaining and shit like that, and they don't really address real situations, and they address micro situations that have nothing to do with the whole entire greater good of any fucking body. They complain about stupid shit like women are being treated unfairly. Okay, yeah, coronavirus doesn't care if you're a woman. Coronavirus doesn't care at all if you're a woman or a man.
In 20 years, the latchkey kids and me as the millennials, we're going to start having to govern this shit. And what do we want to see? Like, what is our idea of what
the problem I have with that is I trust the latchkey kids to govern some shit, but I don't trust the millennials to govern any damn thing.
It's going to happen because the latchkey kids are going to die before us.
I don't trust the millennials to govern any fucking thing. I wouldn't even trust the millennials to take my car to the gas station and fill it up with gas. I'm just keeping it 100.
It's gonna happen.
I know. I'm just saying though. I'm just saying.
And nobody knows how to do a fucking thing.
Yeah,
nobody knows how to do shit.
Because they've been coddled so damn long. You get this. This is what you get.
And then when it's time for us to govern, who's gonna be the guy in Atlas Shrugged that built the fucking metal, that kept the fucking railroad going, that kept the fucking country open?
We'll probably be trading with another country because we'll probably have to get steel from them.
Like, what are we gonna do? Mexico already closed their border. Like,
yeah. Like the sad part about that is they closed it, but it's still open for trade though. It's just closed for people to come visit and come in.
It's kind of like
what I said. It's kind of like what I said about the wall. Like me and MiGTOW went and say about the wall. The wall's meant to keep people in, not keep people out.
That part.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be shocked if I wouldn't be shocked if next year or 2 years from now there's a wall on the Canadian border.
You know what? I just want to see the day where we as a people, me as a millennial, like, you know, like you said, I was raised as a latchkey kid because of who I was raised by. But as a millennial, I want to see us care about different shit. I want to see us.
The sad part about that, millennials don't care about different shit. They only care about themselves. They only care about their own self-interest. This is what sets you apart from this is what sets you apart from millennials. Latchkey kids and Gen Xers, for the most part, they call latchkey kids zillennials. They all care about actual shit that actually can go wrong, that actually affects their actual lives. Whereas millennials only care about shit that only affects them directly on a minor scale. So you would never get a millennial. I mean, there might be those once in a lifetime chances like Yam, but you'll never get a large group of millennials to actually care about shit on a macro level.
And if you look at us as like men, right? A lot of these millennials, they're just chasing skirts, and we know this. We see it every day on YouTube.
They're chasing skirts, or they're crying in the streets about not being able to get a skirt.
But if you look at how men were you look at how, let's say, men were in historic times. Like, let's just use Game of Thrones as the example.
Yeah, it doesn't
These
matter.
men weren't they weren't looking to marry a bitch.
Yeah, the sad part about that is we may talk about all this shit in history, but men will never go back to that ever again. We gotta accept where we are now and move on and actually fix where we are now and actually adjust accordingly to what we are now. Because we would never be the men of the past.
Upon us, bro. MiGTOW's forced upon us by necessity. Nobody wants to
no, it's not even that. The sad part about that is what a lot of people don't realize is this shit was going to happen no matter what. This shit was already in plan and already going to happen. It was already coming down the pipeline, no matter how much you really liked it or not. It was going to happen. With or without MiGTOW, or with or without Red Pill, this shit was going to happen. This shit was going down no matter what. And that's the cold hard truth. That's the cold hard truth. Without any of these other philosophies or groups, we're not even gonna bring them up. This shit was going down no matter what. It was a pill that we're gonna have to. It's a pill that we're going to have to swallow no matter what, and it's the cold hard truth. Because
this shit is about survival, bro.
Yeah, it's about
survival.
Yeah, it's about survival, but at the same time, though, you have people attacking your survivability now and your way of life, because they don't believe that you should have. They don't believe you should have your way of life and your way of thinking, because they believe that you should share. Because this is like communism. You shouldn't be able to keep your resources. You should have to share your resources. So me being Tico, this is the reason why I file my taxes in different countries, because I don't believe I should have to share my taxes in Costa Rica with American people. That's Costa Rica. Get your own shit. So when I work in the United States, I do file my taxes in the United States, and that's all I file. When I file my taxes in Costa Rica, I file my taxes in Costa Rica. When I file my taxes in Colombia, I filed my taxes in Colombia. When I filed my taxes in Albania, that's where I filed my taxes at. When I filed my taxes in Mexico, I just filed my taxes in Mexico, because that's the people that taxes should be going towards. You shouldn't have the right to claim my taxes in all these other countries just because you are who you think you are. It doesn't work like that, pimp. It doesn't work like that.
And we have that problem in America right now with all these damn companies. Like there's
I look at like
companies like Apple and billions of dollars from our government and fucking park the money in Ireland and not even pay our tax rate.
Yeah, that's the sad part. But the sad part about it is it's going to happen. This shit was already going to happen. We already know.
This is shit that we gotta. This is shit that has to start mattering to us as millennials. Like as millennials,
But the sad
we
part
need to
about that is that
understand.
as millennials, only 5% of y'all, or maybe 3% of y'all, are actually going to care about this shit. Whereas the rest only care about me. When can I get the next picture? Is my picture going to get the most likes? Am I going to beat this bitch at this shit? Am I better than this bitch? That's all millennials really care about for the most part.
I think
But only
after
small,
four, I think
only like 2%, 2 to 5% of millennials actually care about real shit. Is what I'm
man.
trying
Let
to
me tell you
you.
something.
So it doesn't matter.
After 4 months of social distancing, people are going to start thinking differently. Nobody's going
No,
to
they're
care
not.
about
No,
the
they're
new
not.
rap
Because
song.
no, they're not. Because the sad part about that, like we said, social media has already been preparing you for this shit already. So this social distancing ain't shit because everybody's been looking at their phone any damn way. If you walk down the street before this happened, when you walk down the street, how many people actually paid attention to their actual surroundings and wasn't looking at their damn phone?
I'm from the
Social
hood. I always
distancing.
watch my surroundings. I keep
Yeah,
my
I
head
know
on a
you do.
swivel.
I'm just saying you do, but not everybody else does. I've had to stop many people from getting hit by a car in the middle of the street by putting my hand out and keeping them from getting hit by a pat bus or a car or something like that. A lot of people don't pay attention. 90% of the people aren't going to pay attention to their surroundings. They pay attention to their phone. You see them even at dinner. Like if you eat dinner with a millennial, they're basically looking at their phone. They're not talking to you. They're looking at their phone. If you have two millennials sitting in a room together, they're not talking. They're texting each other, sitting right next to each other. So this social distancing's already been happening. This social distancing's already been a thing. So this social distancing right here ain't going to be shit because they basically already forced it upon us.
I
So
agree
this
with
ain't
you
going to
in
change
that.
a
I
thing at
agree with you
all.
in that sense. I agree with you in that
This is
sense.
not
But
going to
in
change
another
anything at
sense,
all.
I agree with you in that sense. But in another sense, nobody gives a shit about artistic pursuits anymore. Nobody gives a shit about new movies anymore. Nobody gives a shit about fucking new music anymore.
Creativity is gone. Creativity in America is pretty much gone.
And
Like
that's what
everybody pretty
all.
much they recycle all the shit over and over again. Like nobody wants to make their own brand new thing or take an idea and make it their own. They want to copy off some shit and fuck it up basically. Hence all the movies. Hence how all the movies been doing in Hollywood from there on out. All the movies in Hollywood's been sucking.
There's not going to be any new movies forever. So this is what I'm saying. Like we as millennials, different shit is starting to matter because most of us
Well, no.
most of us were.
No. See, that's your problem, that guy. You're trying to take your ideas and put it on other. You're trying to project it on other people in your age group, and that's not true. Like I said, only 2 to 5% of you actually care about this shit. The rest of the motherfuckers don't care about this shit at all.
My experience is anecdotal. I'll admit that. Just the people
the
that
rest
I
of
know.
the rest of the people in your group don't care about this shit at all. They care about me. What about me?
Yeah.
What can I get?
It would be more productive
it's kind of like my argument with feminists. The underlying problem with feminists is it's not the fact that they're mad that nobody's really dating them. It's the fact that we as men aren't making the guys that they want to date them. And another good example of that is it's not the fact that everybody's upset with us because we're going MiGTOW. They're upset with us because we're keeping our resources. That's communism 101. They want our resources and they want us to share real wealth and share resources with them, but we don't want to share with them. That is their problem. All this rhetoric that they do online about all this other bullshit, that's just smoke and mirrors. The two underlying problems with feminism is they want us as men to make the men that they want date them and not leave them. And they want our resources in the process. It's just fucking facts. That's all it is. And once you boil all that shit down and water it down to the basis, that's all they want. They want us as men to make the bad boys not bad boys and accept them for them. And they want our resources in the process.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at Lord Sosa's comment. In the chat, Lord Sosa, sorry to interrupt you. Define what Sigma is for me, or whatever the definition of Sigma that you're talking about, because I'm not understanding your comment right now.
Well, we're not talking about Sigma right now, but
I was just referring to Lord Sosa's comment. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I'm also replying to Lord Sosa. We're not talking about Sigma right now, but to be a Sigma, you have to not care what society's doing or what society thinks of you. You can engage in a hierarchy if you want to. That's at your choice. But to be a Sigma, it's at your choice. It's not because everybody's making you or you want the validation for the most part. So me, when I come into the hierarchy, I'm always going to come into the hierarchy as an alpha male or higher for the most part. I'm going to get what I need to say done, and I'm going to leave the fuck back out and go do my thing again. This is why you hear me say, I don't want no recognition. I don't want all this shit. I just want you to learn from people and go on about your merry way.
Lone wolf, okay.
Yeah, like I'm gonna say what I need to say, then I'm gonna bounce, basically. Whereas alpha males, I'm here, everybody pay me attention, look at me, validate me, I'm the alpha male. That's basically alpha
And look
male.
at this.
And
Hey,
betas basically follow alpha males.
This is what I see. How I see alpha males. I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me.
Like alpha males are the type of people, and the sad part about that is like now we have a rise of alpha betas now. Like I was saying in my one video, where like you got these people who think they're alpha because they roll up in a Lamborghini, but they still have beta behavior. The double Y. It's getting a little too windy on your side. Or is that wind?
That's me.
Close your window.
I just turned on the AC.
Oh, okay. And the sad part about that is you got a lot of people who actually think they're alpha, but they're not really alpha, and they're walking around, they're trying to do the cockwalk because they own a car or they got some money behind them, basically, but they don't have the alpha behavior to be an alpha.
Right.
None of that shit matters anymore.
Well, it does matter for society because people, and this is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to when I said about the feminists. Feminists want the bad boys, want us as men and MiGTOW to actually make the bad boys want to date them because they don't think it's right that they left them. That's the problem. Also, on top of that, like I said, the fact that we're hoarding resources makes them mad at us because they think we should share our resources with them. You see what I'm saying? That's pretty much the basis. That's pretty much the basis of feminism. They want our resources, and they want us to make the alpha males or the bad boys or the bad guys. Yeah. And they want us to basically make the alpha males or the bad boys basically. They want us to turn them into good guys so they can date them. That's basically feminism 101 right there. That's basically female behavior 101. They don't care about us. They care about the only thing they care about is they care about MiGTOW because we're hoarding resources. They also care about MiGTOW because they want us to force them to actually like them. You see what I'm saying?
But we're not doing it. We're
not doing it and we're not complying. We're not doing it and we're not complying. So now they're upset with us. Now we got to be all these names and all this extra shit and all this other race shit.
That's why the shaming language. This is why the shaming language is.
Yeah, that's why the shaming language comes out on MiGTOW and doesn't come out on Red Pill.
What are we gonna do with hungry? What are we gonna do with hungry bitches with hungry kids?
Oh, fuck them. Thank you, MiGTOW. I was thinking the same damn thing. Thank you, MiGTOW.
Look here. Did I burp them out of my?
Are you ready to let go?
Fucking womb?
It sounds like we're not ready to let go.
Look, I'm not.
I let go.
I'm not advocating for a bit.
The thing about that is, I don't. If I look at it like this, and here's why I let go. Because I look at it like this: if you're not willing to do for yourself, don't come at me with no bullshit. Do it your fucking self. Pick yourself up by your damn self. If you can't do it, find some fucking way to do it and get up your fucking self. Ask for help, get the help, and then go off on your very own after you learn how to do it yourself. If you can't do it yourself, learn how to do it, then go and do it. If you don't want to do it, then quit fucking crying like little bitches. That's exactly how I look at life. It don't matter if you're my child. It don't matter if you're a woman. It don't matter if you're a man. Figure out how to do it or learn how to do it, then go out and do it on your fucking own. You shouldn't need people to prop you up. Period.
Right. For me, it's like you up here say, listen, I let go a long time. I let go like a long time ago when I was in my 20s, and I'm like, if you up here with this bravado saying you don't need no man, don't need this, then you don't need no man. You know, I shouldn't have to validate you.
Look, I'm not advocating for a bitch, okay? That's not what I'm asking. What I'm saying is we're going to a point like it was in old historic times back where men kind of were the warriors and the knights, and they didn't want to marry bitches. They didn't get married because a bitch was a responsibility.
Mm-hmm. The bitch was more like a bitch was a liability.
like Dogface, like the dude that got the burnt face in Game of Thrones. He didn't want to carry her with him all that time. He carried her with him. She was a fucking liability.
It's basically like I was saying in the last live stream. I like doing stuff by myself because I don't want to take responsibility for somebody else. It's just facts. That's the type of human being I am. That's how I've always been. I don't want to take responsibility for somebody else's life or being in harm's way for the most part.
They just want to bust our stones.
I feel that I am at the point of my life that if you did not build what I built for me with me, you are not going to build it. You're not going to come into my life to enjoy
take my shit or take my shit away.
It's gonna be like it's gonna be like prehistoric times to the point where if you weren't born in money and you were a bitch, you're probably gonna be a harlot if you're not wifed up. That's like basically where we're at.
Fuck it, let it get that way. Let it get that way.
Don't do anything to prevent
that. You got to let shit come. Sometimes you, and this is the thing that I hate because everybody always uses excuses. Well, what about this? What about this? Let it fall. Let it fall.
Let it get to that point. The only way they're going to learn.
Let these people lose the legs from under them, and they'll find out what real shit, real hurt, real struggle, real shit actually is. Because this shit that they call struggle now ain't shit. Like I said, it's like what I say about first world problems, bro. Where I say to people, "Oh my God, first world problems, bro." Where this one lady came to me and said, "Well, Tico, I had to stand in the fast food restaurant line for 7 minutes, and it took so long to get my food." Bitch, try standing in line for about 2, 3, 4 hours and getting to the front of the fucking line, and there not being no shit in the fucking whole entire store for you to buy or purchase. Period. The whole entire store is empty. Try that shit one time, then come back and talk to me. Well, Tico, that's different. No, that's the fucking same. That's the fucking same. Stop fucking bitching and actually learn that you actually have more privileges than I had when growing up.
Hey, this is what I'm realizing, and this is why I got so much anxiety. I'm realizing that this is feudalism all over again.
It has to be.
Yeah, the sad part about that is it's feudalism all over again. It's time for you to learn some skills, man. Learn some skills. YouTube got a vast library for you to learn any skill you want to on it off the bat without having to go to school to do it.
You also got
YouTube videos on farming. Yeah, Skillshare. Matter of fact, if you don't feel like paying for Skillshare, watch do it DIY channels. Matter of fact, my favorite one is the one with the two Filipinos.
I pay for Skillshare, and I'm a broke college student.
The sad part about that is go watch all these videos, and you'll pretty much learn how to make your own shit, make your own pool, make your own living room, make your own house, make your own hut, make your own anything from scratch. Just watch shit on YouTube all the time. You ain't got to go to school to do this shit. You can go on YouTube to do this shit.
The thing is,
if you want to learn how to fix a car, you can do it on YouTube. You can learn it on YouTube. If you want to learn how to put together a DIY computer, you can learn that shit on YouTube.
Right, but let me make this to you. Like, it has to be. Yeah, you're saying it's like feudalism. Yeah, it's like feudalism, but this time we have guns. You know, and let it get that way. It has to go that route.
Yeah, the sad part about that is feudalism. Only thing different is it's not rakes and hoes and swords. It's now guns. But the sad part about that is the difference between feudalism and now is even these motherfuckers that got guns ain't gonna do shit.
Right.
They ain't about that life. They talk about being about that life, but half these I would say about only 30% of the motherfuckers with guns are actually about that life. And that's me being honest.
And most of the motherfuckers who are about that life can't even get guns.
Yeah. My point exactly.
Right.
That part.
Most of the motherfuckers that are about that life
it's going to be
can't even
feudalism
get
with
guns.
rakes and hoes and swords and knives, basically, for a lot of them motherfuckers that can't get guns until they actually get a gun in their hand.
So this is what I say. This is why I say feudalism, or neo-feudalism, if you want to call it that. The most important thing that mattered during feudalism was, were you armed?
That basically with the sword, the sword was the police. Not no police officer. The sword was the police.
The sword, damn it.
The sword.
Are you fucking armed?
Pretty much, it's like the Wild West. where the gun was the police, gun was the law was the gun.
And who got the gun?
Definitely not me.
Everybody but me, right?
Everybody but me.
And this is what I'm saying, man. Like we don't understand. Well, because we're millennials, we don't read shit. You know what I'm saying? And because we're millennials, we don't know shit. You know, I'm the only friend that I know that actually fucking reads.
I read, I watch videos, and I learn as much as I possibly can. Knowledge is power.
Like how many people are seeing these military movements and are getting fucking scared because you know what happens when this shit happens?
I'm not scared. You know why I'm not scared?
You should be.
I am in the military. There's nothing that I can do until I'm out. I have a plan that once I'm out, I'm just basically going to disappear. And I'm good at that. I know how to disappear.
You still belong to Caesar, though, bro.
Yeah. No, you don't. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Look, let me break this to you. I am past my obligation. I am past my 4 active, 4 reserve obligation. I'm old. My body's failing. Do you honestly think that they're going to take some old soldier, bring him back in so that he can relive his glory days? Fuck no.
That ain't what I'm talking about.
What
I'm saying is you're an asset that belongs to somebody. You are owned by fucking Caesar. That's what I meant.
No, you're not.
Till my
you can walk away.
My contract's up.
You can pretty much go Caesar still. Shit, there's people that have been active military that actually defected to other countries on a regular basis.
I'm just being
conversation. You just said that I was a business.
Yeah,
you just said don't be so nice, MiGTOW no end. Don't be so nice.
Yeah, the sad part about that
you just said that I was a business. If I'm a business, that means I'm owned by somebody. I don't own my business.
Yeah, the sad part about that is, like I said, there are active military men and active military civilians that actually defect to other countries from the United States on a regular basis. Hell, there's more illegals in Mexico than there are actual Mexicans in the United States. There's actually more illegal American citizens in Mexico than there is Mexicans actually in the United States. But nobody ever talks about that shit. Nobody ever talks about that shit at all.
I just want to do this shit legal.
There's more illegal Americans in Costa Rica than everybody always talks about.
This is what I'm talking about, Lord Sosa.
I'm just trying to cover my bases and do this stuff legally, as legal as possible. Because once my contract's up, if I don't sign up again, I ain't got no wife. I ain't got no kids. The only thing I got is a dog.
Who, by the way, is an asset if you could teach him how to hunt.
Right.
Okay, let's get started on this forum real quick. I mean the corner thing, Scam's Corner, because this pretty much drug on a little too longer than normal.
Right.
I mean, it matters. Shit.
It matters, but we're going in a big ass circle right now too. Though.
This is your life, nigga.
But we're going in a big ass circle. We've already answered these questions over and over again.
In about 9 different ways.
Yeah. From Sunday.
I was able to get a nap and listen to these questions. You know,
he woke up from his nap. I knew you were napping. I knew you were napping. You had to be tired, brother.
I am Baron Yim, and this is Yim's Corner. Let us begin. This is the problem with MiGTOW, the red pill. MiGTOW, it's easy to teach a boy or girl. Blues Clues, philosophy.
You have 4 hours and 26 minutes of remaining drive time.
To instruct to a young adult. Twilight, Teen Wolf, Warm Skin. The MiGTOW community reeks of the black pill. Music, movies, and art is no longer a liberation tool for the lower classes. Communication has moved into the cloud, and the farmers of your brain and body are in control of who has access to your information and soul. Alphas have abandoned hoes, and now hoes require resources. The bourgeoisie has created a great filter in which the lower class cannot use the knowledge of female nature to rise into prosperity, and instead it is used to repress male spirituality and faith-building skills. Grown men are firing shots at people who they think are responsible for their lack of due diligence in life. MiGTOW sees the lack of skill teaching in the female population and have taken it upon themselves to learn the trades that are missing in the population. Alas, this does not prevent the inevitable collapse. Be prepared to walk away and do not give the thoughts anything because hose mad, roni. Seek your happiness in the patterns and way of the land and in your own philosophical underpinnings. We must be like Archimedes when he is confronted by a Roman soldier during the sacking of Syracuse. No tuba re circulos meos. Do not disrupt my circles. I have to go now, but be good. Don't do anything MiGTOW the wind wouldn't or hasn't already done. Stay up, men, and segue out of here like a boss when the time is right. Understand the construct and respond accordingly. Fuck them hoes, and if they come at you with their hand out, just quote Ecclesiastes and slap them with a glove. A nigger might be from a third world country, but a nigga got standards.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. A nigga might be from a third world country. That's not Ecclesiastes. That's Tico. A nigga might be from a third world country, but a nigga got standards. Yep.
Dude, good one.
And that concludes Yam's Corner.
Very nice. Very nice.
And in the yams.
Mm-hmm. He used everybody's quote. He used me.
did.
He used mine. He used MiGTOW and the winds. He used
The Ecclesiastes thing was that guy.
that guy. Yeah. But he used mine when I say I might be from a third world country, but a nigga got standards. He uses double eyes quote all the time too.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
that's all I got.
was a beautiful dissertation, man.
Of course.
Very
Nigga got
nice.
standards. And we have to keep these standards, man, because at the end of the day, we are in prehistoric times now. Even though we have all the technology, we're in prehistoric times. Like when the grocery stores run out of food, we're fucked. I mean, I'm lucky to be in California where we have everything close by, but what if you're in a food desert?
You're fucked.
Yeah, like a landlocked.
And you're gonna have plenty of loot.
The sad part about that, if you're in a food desert, depending on what your soil look like, if you call my black ass, I can help your ass out over the phone. I've once grown food in the middle of Russia, damn near in the cold season.
Nice.
Hey, shout out to Lord Sosa, Isaiah 4:1. That's a beautiful right there.
Isaiah 4:1
It
is gold.
Man, and this is what we're going through right now. This is what we're going through right now. Do you want that responsibility over those 7? I say no. I say if you have children, look after your children, but don't take any more on.
Yeah, don't take any more on at all. I ain't got room to talk because the cartel princess is actually pregnant right now. But don't take any more on.
Hey, look, tell Cartel Princess I said hi.
I will. She already pretty much
like we need to really think about this. We don't even know how to birth our own children. Like, what if your ladies? Like, what if
I do.
You're in I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about us Americans. What if you're in California and when they lock this shit down, like, what are you gonna like? How are you gonna birth your baby?
It's
like,
not that hard. That's really not that hard because they basically do it over the phone with people. Like, there's one time, like my favorite when I was like 16 or 17 and I got trapped in an elevator in the city county building in Pittsburgh, the old gold the gold elevators in city county building in Pittsburgh, MiGTOW to win.
Yeah.
The still old ass gold ones. I actually was trapped in there one year. God. Yeah, I was trapped in there with a pregnant woman and they were basically on the elevator phone telling me how to deliver a baby. So, it's not hard to teach somebody how to deliver a baby. It's a matter of keeping them calm so they can actually do it. It's kind of like what I was telling you about. It's kind of like what I was telling you about the whole entire disaster plan. You want the person to be as calm as humanly possible so they can actually perform the acts that you need them to act so they can actually go into the disaster plan and lay out the plan for people. Basically, they had to calm me down first. Then they told me how to proceed on delivering the baby.
Right. I have a question.
I think we as millennials, we got too used to the good times.
Right.
Oh, you definitely did. Everybody did. Women did. Hell, women did more than anybody else. Women thought they could do all this shit themselves. Now you don't see them out there making a peep now. You don't hear no feminists, no nothing. You don't hear a chick out there with her hair in red or pink or purple or blue or green running her mouth right now.
Nope.
Them bitches hair is down and combed down and they're probably losing their dye in their hair. Their nails is all fucked up and they got on yoga pants right now trying to get a man so they can get some shit for right now. Because they're suffering right now.
Did anybody watch Joker's video yesterday? like Joker dropped a video about this yesterday, talking about hoes sliding DMs.
Yeah, I
Like,
seen it.
like
I watch
and
Joker all the
Joker.
time.
That's one of my favorite content creators, man. But let's keep it real. Like this Joker shit is happening right now to everybody.
The
And
sad part
if you
about that
haven't,
is that guy. That shit's been happening for a while now. Because
We
bitches
just
is
weren't
getting
paying
desperate. That's why you don't see them out there screeching the most anymore, because they're too busy. It's kind of like what I said about the fake trad cons. They're basically too busy being in DMs trying to get some dick or get some resources basically right now. That's what I talked about in my one video basically
That's
before Joker
tragic,
uploaded that
That's
video.
tragic,
There's a bunch of
so.
fake trad cons running around here. I'm not mad at trad. I'm not what I said. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at feminism. I'm against trad cons basically, and here's why. That basically talked about in my video not too long, a while before Joker put out that video. But I said, look, the sad part about that is there's going to be bitches in your I basically said the same thing. Like they're going to come at you all types of ways. You got to watch that shit because they're faking like they're what I say. And there's another video I did actually after that too. That called there's wominists on the right too. I refer to the left, traditional woman as womanist. I refer to feminists as feminists. So the women on the left, and the women on the right, I refer to them as wominists. So there are wominists on the right that basically do the same thing, and they're going to be in your DMs. They're going to be asking you this shit. They're going to be trying to get at you because women. Just think about it. Women won't do something right out because they don't want to be embarrassed in public, so they'll do it in your DMs. You see what I'm saying? That's exactly how they're operating. They're not going to walk up to you. They're not going to walk up to you in public and say this shit. What they'll do in public is they'll dress with yoga pants on or those stretch pants on so they can get your attention so you can approach them. But when they can't get that, they'll find your ass on social media and be all up in your DMs or all up in your email. It's just facts.
Here's what happened to me. I lived in the heart of the North American territory, Fargo, North Dakota. And what happened was, as I was going through school, I met a lot of liberal women, a lot of feminist women, who were living in a whitewashed territory, right? So they had the feminist rhetoric down. I mean, the institution did their job to, instruct them accordingly. But what happened was a lot of these feminists actually were trad cons in disguise. And it's sad because if you look at North Dakota, it's just like all there really is to do is drink and party and work if you're in blue collar and fuck. And so what happened is like I narrowly avoided enjoying the good life too much, having it pretty much everything that I like handed to me, living in that area, and I decided to move out. To the coast. To be with my family and to look for work out here, and what I inevitably left was a lot of my friends who had basically gotten complacent and had adapted to that environment, and they were very bright people at the outset, but what happened is as they got acclimated to the system, they slowly started to lose all of that sharp wit and that sharpness that they had. And they started to meld into the heat, like the hedonism that really plagued that area. I said
they never had wit.
Well, it was tested. That you don't have wit until it's tested, and then if you lose it, then you lose that accolade.
If you don't use it,
you
lose it basically.
And this is the thing about men: it is necessary for us to have it, because if I tell you something and I can't explain why the fuck I'm telling it to you, then you're not going to follow it.
Yeah. Well, no, because at that point it is just being a gut instinct, and you should always follow your gut instinct.
Yeah.
And so, like, we're getting.
I didn't know why I was feeling like I needed to leave at that point. I was just like, I called my mom up. I was like, you know what? I don't feel like I should stay here anymore, even though I have my own place. I have a good job. I have all my friends and stuff that I could, further a relationship with. I have all this stuff, but I just felt like I needed to come leave and go back.
And there's another thing, Yams. Like, shout out to the Big Fast Podcast, but we need to start as men. Like, the 3 S's is going to be important to you for survival. Like, you need to be practicing sobriety. You need to be practicing celibacy. You know what I'm saying? You need to be practicing fucking solitude. Like, these things that he's talking about are necessary.
Solitude.
They're necessary for your survival.
No.
Captain seat yours. Captain seat yours.
What you gonna do when you catch syphilis and there's no penicillin? Because we don't make it.
You're gonna be burning.
The sad part about that is the sad part about that guy is there's actually another strain of syphilis that actually can't be cured by the penicillin. So you're gonna probably live with it.
You need to look at it. You need to look at a bitch as a potential
out.
death sentence.
Let out.
You're not gonna die
She
as
is a
much as you're
narrow
probably gonna lose your
pit.
reproductive rights, basically, by doing that.
A narrow pit.
Yep.
So how are you going to protect yourself, fellas? Are you going to fall into the narrow pit?
Nope.
Are you going to be led to her house?
Look here, man. I'm gonna tell you what my dad told me. You got a right hand, you got a left hand. Use it.
Facts.
I'm telling you, man, because this is what it's come to.
Yeah.
You are the bridegroom again. I was just talking about this the last live stream. We need men to think about being the bridegroom. And guess what the fuck? Rona happened. Now we're the fucking bridegroom again. Especially if you have a job.
Well, the sad part about that is like I'm basically avoiding rehashing old topics from other live streams, so like I won't have to drag them in, so it won't become a boring long stream, basically. So people don't think it's the same thing. So I try to talk about different things in different live streams. But I understand what you're saying. But if they really want to know that, they can actually watch the last live stream. That way, we won't.
Yeah, I'm not trying to rehash it. I'm just saying, like we fellas, we need to really evolve. The life as we know it is over. Like literally, it's never going to go back to what it used to be.
It would never go back to what it used to be. It doesn't. It would never be traditional. It would never. None of that shit would ever be the same. The thing, like I say all the time, is only thing that you can do as a man nowadays is just adapt to every single thing that somebody throws at you. Learn to adapt. Don't complain about the shit. Just adapt.
If you want to be a Sigma, then understand that when people are criticizing you, they're just trying to convince themselves of their insanity or of their sanity.
Yeah, this is where the rubber meets the road on the MiGTOW. Like if you look at the abbreviation for MiGTOW, man going their own way. Like now the rubber meets the road, and now you really have to go your own fucking way.
Right.
Now the rubber meets the road. Who's really MiGTOW?
That's a good question.
That's what I'm saying now.
It's not even that good anymore. It's basically to narrow it down to the basis is, as a man, you have no choice but to adapt to your physical surroundings, no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're MiGTOW. It doesn't matter if you're the Bachelor lifestyle. It doesn't matter if you're Red Pill. It doesn't matter if any of this shit. You have to learn to adapt to your surroundings. It don't matter how much gold you have. If the market collapses, 9 times out of 10, the fact that you have this shit is going to make you a target for being beat over the fucking head for that shit. It's just facts. So you have to learn to adapt and learn skills that you actually need to actually go on in life for the most part. Because all this extra shit that, like, I'm buying gold or I got guns, this just makes you a fucking target. It makes you a big ass target. It paints a big ass bullseye on your back. And the sad part about that, you always talk about what y'all would do when somebody run up on you, but there's a lot of people like me that wouldn't run up on you. They would just snipe you.
Yeah. Why do you need to be in a place where you can get run up on?
Yeah, why do you need to? Why do you want to?
Don't prepare to be run up on.
That's basically like the old term back in the day, but in a hood. Why do you want to be caught slipping?
We need to be producing shit that matters, and each person at their own level can produce something, or you should want to produce something. Like, how do you make ammo? Like things that fucking matter in life.
Charcoal, saltpeter, sulfur, and a few other ingredients.
Okay, I think your priorities on what matters are a little jostled.
Yeah, that's not what really matters. But yeah, we'll run with that. You can sell that shit, but that's not what 100% matters. But yeah, we'll run with that.
Do you want to know? I think he's asking without asking, right? I think he's asking. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, that guy. I think what you're asking without asking is, like the landscape has changed. Yes, you're seeing that.
Well, the sad part about that is,
hold on. Let me finish first. Let me finish, Tico.
You're just now seeing it, and that's the sad part. It's been changing since 2001.
Either way, I'm explaining what I think his question is here.
Okay.
So the landscape has changed, right? You've identified that. We've explained that to you. You've asked
Yeah.
questions about, like how it's been, what are, the meanings of certain things. So in a sense today, what I'm not hearing from you is, okay, here is the dotted line in the sand. Coronavirus has put us over that dotted line or on that
Yeah.
dotted line. So you're
Yeah.
teeter-tottering on that dotted line right now. Number one, you want to know what that landscape is. Check. You want to know how, certain things were. Check. So now you kind of want to
He
know.
wants to know how to traverse that certain land too.
Traverse.
It's more, I wouldn't say it's traverse because, like, I did grow up on a cattle ranch, so I have a skill that matters. I know how to kill livestock. I have a few skills, but this is the thing, like, our time as people have been consumed by whatever our passions were. Now that those passions, for the most part, are no longer viable, what is the best
That's
use
not
of your
true.
fucking time?
See, you're looking at doom and gloom in a whole different way
No,
than I am.
I'm not saying it's doom and gloom. What I'm saying is, my time was consumed by things that aren't important anymore, and what I'm trying to figure out is what the fuck is important now.
So
Who
why
are
do you
they not
think the
important
things
to?
before were not
That's
important? Why do
something
you
you got
think
to
they're not
figure out for
important?
yourself.
Well,
That's something
because playing guitar isn't important in the grand scheme of things.
Yes, it is. Yeah, absolutely it is.
Who is telling you that it's not important?
I'm seeing it as far as in my life.
Well, because I look at it like this.
I
Like
haven't
I look
picked up
at
a guitar in a week.
Dude,
like I look at it like this. I've
just
seen
like
performers.
hold on, Tico.
I've seen performers
Hold on,
in
Tico.
cities who
Hold
actually
on,
play guitar and get
Tico.
money.
Tico, a minute.
Okay, go ahead.
Give me a minute. So what I'm hearing is, okay, so you're getting a little bit of, in my opinion, you're
roboting.
I feel like nothing that was important is important outside of the mundane now. I feel like the
Everything is
mundane.
important. Every skill that you
Everything is important. Let me explain why.
Is important. Trust me. Every single skill that
All
you
this
have.
is a hurricane. All this is a hurricane in the grand scheme of things. Just like a hurricane affects weather patterns, and just like those weather patterns affect things, throw things in the air, rip boats apart, rip roofs off, things like that. Very similar to a tornado. Very similar to anything else that's going to cause any damage. This is causing damage in a different way, but it is not going to last forever. It will change the field, but it's not going to last forever.
No, what I'm going to add to that. What I'm going to add to that before you say anything, that guy. At the end of the day, the reason why your guitar skills are important, because I've noticed this in Latin America, especially during the mining incident in Peru, or was it Chile? Music is important to people because it brings them closer together and it gives them a solidarity. So you playing the guitar is the same as the one lady who actually sang "Gracias la vida" during that whole entire mining accident. They actually gave people the drive to actually go on and actually believe that they're going to see their loved ones again out of that mine.
It's not going to help me. It's not going to help me get anything that I need to live.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it is.
It's going to give everybody solidarity.
No. Hold on. Yes, it is absolutely giving you something you need to live. Let me tell you that.
Food, toilet paper.
No. Hold on. There are tangible things that you need to live, but there are also other things that you need to live.
And I think you're right about the dotted line. Like, this really just makes me examine, like, how important is this? Like, how important is playing the guitar if you can't fucking find any water?
What type of guitar do you play?
If you play the guitar,
what type of guitar do you play?
Electric, acoustic, it doesn't matter. I have an SG with a Marshall half stack.
Okay, nice. So right now you're stuck in a house, right?
Right.
Okay. You probably live near LA or in LA?
No. Well, yeah, I'm in Central California.
Okay, you're Central California. So I'm sure there's a gathering place nearby you that your common folk in your community gather? Like maybe the barber shop?
Not anymore. They're all shut down. Everything's shut down. Barbershop shut down.
Well, you're
He's talking
saying
about
everything's
common
shut
areas
down.
now, basically. But the street, I'm pretty
I'm
sure,
talking
is
about
open
common
still.
areas. Like right now,
It's still
I'm
set up.
literally sitting inside of a park that is not shut down. This park has signs up that says, "Feel free to come in and use the park. We're open." The park,
For now.
Well, everyone's, social distancing, 6 feet apart. Everyone's saying, stay apart, but feel free to use the park. So I'm sitting in the park. I'm talking to you. So if I'm talking to you right now, unfortunately it's raining. But if I had someone like you practicing his guitar on over there on the bench, socially distanced, you know what? I'm enjoying that. You're spreading that enjoyment. That's creating a solace. That solidarity. We're all doing something together, but we're not together.
It's kind of like the subway musicians. When you walk past the subway musician, 9 times out of 10, because he plays so good, you're going to drop something in his hat. Let it be a gift card. Let it be money. Let it be. I've seen subway musicians all the damn time. Well, you wouldn't be a subway musician in this thing. Like there's street musicians. There's street musicians. There's subway musicians. Damn.
Look at the
Titanic. They get money. They get money so you can get supplies. Hell, I've seen people panhandle. I've seen people panhandle that have a lot of money and still panhandle.
Oh,
and
shut
get
down
more
infrastructure, musicians.
Hey,
go outside of a closed area where there's people walking around.
Look at the Titanic. Look at the Titanic for instance. The captain had the band play a jovial tune, a jolly tune,
Not me.
to kind of keep the people from panicking.
I wouldn't have gave a damn
until the last minute.
True, very true.
But
music skills actually are very important.
Yeah, man.
Right. Well, whether you think so, like even in this
not just music skills, art in general is important during
everybody
times
loves
of crisis.
art, no matter what it is. Everybody loves art, and everybody's depiction of art is different. But everybody loves art generally.
But if you look at the mind of the artist right now, because like I don't just play guitar, I play piano, I play drums, I make music. It's like it's what I do.
You're letting the time break you.
It doesn't feel it for me as the artist. It going through this coronavirus made me realize that my pursuit of all these skills were a waste of time. Listen.
Basically, hang on. It's basically what MiGTOW on the Wind said. What did you say to him, MiGTOW on the Wind, about time?
About the time. You're letting what I'm saying, what I'm trying to say, what I was saying after that is like you're letting these current difficult times make you like everybody else.
Yes.
You're making them like you're letting these hard times break you and make you like everybody else.
Right.
You're just gonna be like the general populace.
I don't see it like that. The way I look at it is, I feel like this is a form of like there are honestly, I just feel like there are more important things.
There are.
That's just, there
are things, but you still need to use these skills. Sometimes you got to use these skills to get to that more important thing.
But don't undermine. Undermine your
like a good example of that is a good example of using those skills to get to where you need is that one singer, Jewel, was found at a gas station pumping gas before she actually became a singer. So she had to do some small shit to get to where she was before. Hell, who's to say if she wasn't working that day that label manager guy wouldn't have ever seen her? Who's to say if she wasn't singing when she was pumping gas? Who's to say he wouldn't have heard her voice so she can actually become the star she is? The fact that she was able to do that made her who she was.
You're correct, but as the artist, I'm starting to feel like maybe my skill as a person who knows how to who knows how to move a bull, or somebody who knows how to put a saddle on a horse for the first time, all of a sudden as an artist, I feel like those skills are more important to me now than being able to play flamenco.
Here's the thing though. That. The scary part about that is at the end of the day, because I actually own horses, you really don't need to put a saddle on a horse. You can ride bareback if you really want to.
Yeah, let me say something. Music has been used, as everybody else has said, as a social gathering. Music has
Or as a
also been
medium.
used, right, as medium. Music has also been used as a form of meditation.
Yep.
Like if you find a tone, you find a tone that in your head, like find a chord, like find something in your head, like a tune or something that allows you to zone out while you're playing the guitar. And like you could even artists have been able to meditate through their own music and allow other people to meditate and resonate through their own music.
When you hit that zone, when you're in the zone, when you're playing that tune and everything is just going perfectly the way you want it, that's your zone.
Right. It's like a drug, and you do that to get more of it, you know?
Hell yeah.
And the thing about that is what I was saying. It's kind of like the joke that MiGTOW and the Wind made in one of the live streams about if that banjo has dust on it, you might as well just give it to me, Tico.
Right.
Yeah, I remember
legit.
that.
Like that's legit. Like that's real shit right there. That banjo has dust on it. You might as well just have it because they have dust on the neck or something like that. You might as well just give it to me, Tico.
Look. Does your amplifier have dust on it?
Nah, not at all. It just feels like, you know, when I look deeper at it, it just feels like all the refinement of our society is built on top of a foundation that's unsustainable. And the fact that we as people can't even sustain ourselves, I feel like that for me is a more important issue than being able to put my feelings on a piece of paper.
Well, the sad part about that,
see, that's your humanity, your art, your ability.
The thing about music is when you play music, like a good example of that is I may not like music all the time, but I know when I play my cello, I'm at my most peace, and I'm at my most my thought and productivity actually goes up when I play my cello. Anytime I run into a problem, period. Like if I get stumped at work, doing research, if I get stumped at work doing something, trying to figure something out, I just basically break out my cello and I play my cello and I play it, and then I can think of more stuff more clearly because my creative juices are going. Now my thought process is a lot better, my productivity is a lot better, and I can actually think with an open mind for the most part to actually do more stuff and better stuff.
I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna play guitar anymore, but as far as like pursuing it the way that I was as a career, I just or not even guitar, just being a music producer in general. Like I honestly, when this is over, I'm not gonna see it as a viable career possibility anymore, even though I've had success at it. I've had success and been able to sustain myself doing it. I just, after this, it just woke me up.
The sad part about that is because you actually had that success, that should let you know right there that it's actually an actual skill that you actually need. Because if you actually had that success and you were successful at it, that means it was a skill that was actually enough for somebody to pick up and want to notice for you to actually do it and actually be successful at it. You actually need that skill right there.
I gotta go.
Period.
I gotta go. I'm close to my time, to my pickup time on my on this load, and I don't know if y'all gonna still be online when I get this here.
We're probably not. We're probably gonna wrap it up very soon here.
All right, but
peace out.
Here's my outro. All right.
Yeah, hit your outro.
Don't do nothing that I do. Hi, Cartel Princess.
She gonna get your ass.
This is MiGTOW the Win, signing off.
See you, buddy.
Later.
That's where I'm at with it, though. I'm not saying that,
stay out of the Freedom Lab server, MiGTOW the Win.
It's just getting to a point with me, man, where I've literally had a shift of consciousness, and for me, like
the sad part about that, if you keep on playing music, you play the music. It's not for everybody else. It's for yourself. It's for your own. It's for your own mental good, for the most part. That's what I'm talking about when I say I play the cello.
I think you're sick.
Anytime I get stumped,
your environment. I think you're sick of your environment.
Yeah, the sad part about that. Anytime you get stumped, or anytime something happens to you that sets you back, if you play an instrument, if you play that instrument, and you just focus on that instrument and playing that instrument, it opens up a world to you. It opens up a mental world to you, and you think very differently, and you don't really have that whole entire dread and gloom and doom anymore. Because you're just playing the hell out of that instrument. You're putting all your heart and soul into that instrument, if you know what I mean.
I have a parable that might help. I have a
like
parable that might help. You
like
have
a good example of that is like the one chord I always play on the cello. I used to play a different chord, but now I play the you ever hear the what's it called? Future's Mask Off
Yeah.
song. I play that chord. And I play the hell out of that one. And like I used to play a different song before that, but I play the hell out of that one now. And the sad part about that, playing that song and pouring myself into that song actually gets me unstumped, and it actually opens my mind up a lot more. And and so when I need to do something, like a good example, when I get into like video ruts, or when I get into like anime, when I'm making anime and I get into ruts on a plot, I basically I actually start playing my cello so I can actually make more content or make more plots. Or if I get stuck in a writing block, or if I get writer's block, or I write myself into a corner, I basically play my cello so I can make myself a more creative person.
Hey, yo, Tico, and this is another thing, right? And this is part of it too with me. Like, this is the other side of this coin. Like, the art that I do make now and the art that I even consume now, like, I don't want anything that's superficial anymore. Like, none of this stuff matters
that's what
anymore.
That's what I said. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for anybody else. Do it for yourself.
Like, if we look at like the popular rap music right now, like, that
that's not
whole way of life.
That guy, that's not important. Do it. All that matters is you doing it for yourself. It doesn't matter what that rapper's doing. It don't matter what's hopping right now. Do it for your damn self. Do it for yourself and for your own self-worth and for your own wellness and your own well-being. It doesn't matter what the Exxon, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't give a fuck what his name is. It doesn't matter what they're fucking doing. Do it for yourself. Do it because you like it. Do it because it makes you feel good. Do it because just as you, for the most part. Like they say in Nike, just do it.
The popularity contest is for the femmes, not for us.
They've also tried to take your creativity
that's for skinny
and
boy
sell it
jean
back
wearing
to
men.
you.
And men who like to wear pink skirts and pink dresses on the damn runway. That's for them people.
For the longest time, man, the music industry was a big popularity contest, and now it's like
still is.
Now, and now
but like I said,
that it's shut down.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they're doing. Do it because it makes you feel good. It doesn't matter if it's shut down or popularity or anything. That shit doesn't matter. And this is what we're talking about, the Sigma thing. All that shit doesn't matter. Do it because it makes you feel good. Do it because you feel good in your heart. Do it because it mentally makes you feel good. Do it because
it brings you happiness.
Because it brings you happiness. Don't do it because it's popular or what's popping or it's been shut down or this rapper does this or fuck them people. Fuck them people.
Fuck the world.
And
fuck the world.
Do it because it makes you feel fucking good.
When you're playing your music, play it for yourself. Play it for your heart.
And you know,
play it for your spirit.
And what you guys is opening up, you know, it's like it you know, taking what you guys saying at face value, it makes each person just analyze, why do you want a particular thing? Why do you want to do this?
That's the road to mastery.
The sad part about it, it's a skill. If you don't use that skill, you will lose that skill. Trust me, I've done it many times. I've had to go back and re-get those skills back. Like a good example of that is recently, I was talking about in the live stream with a while back with True Sherman and the rest of them about me being over to leg press about 1,500 pounds. The sad part about that is this gym shit, this shit with the gym being closed down. I tried to actually go and do that in Costa Rica. And the sad part about that, because I was so far out the gym, I wasn't able to do that 1,500 pounds anymore. So now I got to work back up to that 1,500 pounds. It's a skill. If I don't use it, I'm going to lose it. It's just as simple as music. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. You don't want to lose any skill that you've learned. It's not like a bicycle. Just because you read it once doesn't mean you can get back on it and ride it perfectly again. You got to practice this shit on a regular basis. Just like I said with the leg pressing. I can't leg press 1,500 pounds right now, but give me 2 months in this Costa Rican gym, and my black ass is going to be at 1,500 pounds again. You see what I'm saying?
You know, I used to feel like music was a respectable thing, and it is to a certain extent. You know, it's just now that I'm starting to respect different things more, like people who actually create things that matter, like people who invent things like 3D printers and shit like that, or people who could, you know, actually fucking build shit that matters.
Yeah. But the sad part about that respect is fine. That respect is fine, but you still got to do you. It doesn't matter what the fuck they're doing. Do you. That's
But
the
it
problem.
should.
You're not
It
wanting to do
should.
you. You're focused on everybody else. Do you, pimp? Do you,
Yeah.
and do you to the best of your ability. Take pride in what you got and all the skills that you have to offer and all the skills
Mhm.
that you learn. Because if you don't, the minute you stop doing that, all that shit is ripped from you. You see what I'm saying?
Let me.
Because like the minute you start focusing on all these 3D printers and shit like that and all this shit, who's to say tomorrow that the U.S. government won't come in your house and confiscate all your shit and put you in a FEMA camp? Now you got none of this shit to play whatsoever. Now you just took all that shit for granted. It's kind of like what Shu Sherm was saying in the last live stream. Don't take shit for granted. You got all this shit now. Use it, love it, and own it, and have fun with it until they come in your house and take your fucking shit away. And then you'll be sitting there in a FEMA camp like, well, damn, I used to have a bass guitar, or damn, I used to have this piano, or damn, I used to have this software. Now I got to sit in this FEMA camp now. You see what I'm saying? You're taking everything that you're doing for granted right now. And that's the problem that I'm having with this. Don't take none of this shit for granted that you learn. Because at the end of the day, this shit can all disappear from you in a blink of an eye.
And if you're respecting new things, then allow that respect to help inform the crafts that you've already established. Like write a song about being on the farm. Write a song about and I'm not saying like go do this, but I'm just trying to spitball, help like you brainstorm because it's writer's block is a real thing when it comes to like singer songwriters like me and like not knowing what to write about. So if you have respect for something new, like say fending for yourself or going MiGTOW or being red pilled or something, try to write music about that. Like if you're looking to improve that skill. But in the meantime, just continue to think, continue to reflect. No one's telling you have to stop thinking, and in fact, I would tell you to like don't go out and just like do something rash and play out on a subway somewhere because you might get that roni boy. But like do something that's actually or do something with that knowledge that you're gaining now. And if you can't do it now, set up some steps for in the future. You're like, okay, as soon as I master gardening, I'm gonna create a whole album on gardening, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, and the
it's
sad
all
part
gonna
about
be
that is all this stuff like this music, like I said, this music inspires you to do more shit. The sad part about that is there's a lot of people in school, like I know a lot of people I went to college with, they literally play instruments so they can actually get through their fucking physics test or their physics learning. Like all this shit, like music is very important to these people. Like I had a roommate that played the violin on a regular fucking basis. I hated the fucking violin so much. I wanted to break it over his head, but I understood what he was doing. He needed that music to soothe himself so he can actually pass his physics class. Because he had a hard time with physics.
I get that shit too, man.
You know how they have 3D printers? You know how they have 3D printers and everything like that? Since you mentioned them?
Yeah.
You can make your own equipment.
No, hold on a minute. Hold on. Being in a position where I can answer not as the person who created 3D printers, but someone who has created hardened facilities and created places that, are of strategic value. Every time I'm in those building environments, I'm watching the workers who are putting it together listen to music as they're doing it.
Yeah, on a construction site, there's music on, and if you see any carpenters listen to music. If you go to an office building, they're listening to music. Hell, at the lab I used to work at, we listen to music. Music is important. Music is very essential.
The reason they listen to the music on the radio is because that's all they had. And that's, everyone wants to hear something that's easy to listen to. So they'll listen to the popular music station or whatever. And somebody's choosing their music for you.
Or let me rephrase that. Or at certain office buildings, you only can listen to certain music because it's only appropriate for that office space.
Right.
Like you can't be listening. You're going to make me lose my mind up in the lab when the director's walking through the lab because you might get fired.
Oh, definitely
you might get fired just a little bit. But like on a construction site, that might be okay. But in a lab or on a nursing floor, hoes ain't shit. I mean, bitches ain't shit, but hoes and tricks probably ain't appropriate for patient consumption. Just saying. The sad part about it's music that's appropriate. There's a reason why it's called elevator music because it's appropriate for everybody across the board.
Because like I didn't really take.
I gotta get going.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to end this.
Okay.
You're fine. Go ahead. Finish up that guy. I'll let you finish it off, and then we'll do our outros.
Yeah, I just gotten to the point where it's like I appreciate what my great grandparents and the way they lived. I appreciate the way that they canned their own food. I appreciated the way that they grew their own livestock. I appreciated just their particular way of life. And and when you teach somebody like this when they're young, when you get older, you're not going to depart. So for me, it's like having the desire to return to what I was taught. You know, the simple way of life, and I'm just starting to find a lot more value in that.
Yeah,
And that's what I think is the benefit of this thing for me.
but yeah, at the same time, that's good. That's good and all, but at the same time, you're in your situation now. Unless you move to somewhere like that, you're not going to get out of your situation now. So all this stuff means nothing if you're in your situation now and you want to do all this stuff. You want to go out in the middle of nowhere and find the same like type of land and stuff like that, like you did when you were a child. The sad part about that though is while all this is taking place, none of that shit's going to grow right away. So you're not going to get the instant gratification of that shit. This is something that you if you were going to do it, you should have been doing it a while ago. It's kind of like how they say
Exactly.
prep and stuff like that. The sad part about that, you might go out there, you might fail, then you might get discarded, and you might come back to the
It's
city. You see what I'm
escapism.
saying? It's
Yeah.
basically that's all it really is escapism. So if you're really into this and you're really going to do this, you would have already been doing this. It's sad. It's a sad hard reality, and it's a cold hard truth, but that's just facts.
Do you? Do you?
Yeah,
Yeah, do
exactly.
you?
Like
Hindsight is
And, and,
2020.
and
Yeah.
so I
Don't
got an
try
outro.
chasing that.
I got an outro right now.
Yeah, go
So
yeah.
I wanted to just share this parable because it's related to what we were just talking about. So in studying Buddhism, before you do it, um, a mountain is just a mountain. In the process of studying Buddhism, mountains become full of spirits and they become things, entities that you ask permission before you do a ritual for. They have a personality. And upon mastery of Buddhism, mountains are returned to their rightful role as just mountains. And so in this process, you'll have many, many doubts. You'll have many resistances and many frustrations, but realize where you are in the process and continue your pursuit of knowledge. Don't ever think that because you feel this way that you need to stop learning and stop growing. And that is all. I'm Baron Yam signing out. Be good, take care, and live long.
Yeah. You too, yeah. Thanks.
Later.
I give you a quick outro too, man. Do what fucking matters to you. Like, you know, if different things start mattering to you, do different things, whatever that means to you. Pursue your own happiness. That's what this whole country's about. That's what life is about. Pursuing your own happiness and being able to actually sustain yourself. So, you know, live your life, fellas, and just be happy.
True story. Debala. Before
Don't
you fall
chase
out again.
that tail. It'll lead only to fail.
Okay, Dennis.
Leave
too.
that Roni to that old ass pony and walk away.
Okay, you're channeling your inner menace now. I see.
Yeah.
yeah. I know he did.
Survive, gentlemen. Survive. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us. I'm out.
All I'm going to say to that is, just do you. Do what makes you happy. Don't worry about what everybody else got to say about you. Always stay fast. Always stay true to yourself. Because at the end of the day, they can be mad at you for not agreeing with them or siding with them, but they can never be mad at you for you not being true to you. Never step outside yourself or never step outside your character. If it ain't your character, don't pretend like it is. It's kind of like the famous lines of what's his name? Trick Daddy. If you ain't no friend to me or kin to me, bitch, don't pretend to be. Treat everybody like that for the most part. If they're not friends to you or they're kin to you, basically treat them as they're a suspect and just distance yourself from them. Because at the end of the day, it's all about you taking pride in yourself. Don't let other people try to put what they want to do or what they say to you into your shit if it doesn't fit your milieu or if it doesn't fit what you got going on for yourself. Always do you to the best of you. Don't try to do everybody else to the best of you. Do you to the best of you and take pride in yourself. The more you take pride in yourself, the better you'll be as a human being. The better you'll only be as a human being. The better you'll be spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And the sad part about that is, like I was saying in a few other streams, don't let stress get to you. Because the minute stress gets to you, that actually starts releasing a lot of chemicals in your body that basically lowers your immune system to the point where like you're susceptible to getting any fucking thing. So do stuff that makes you feel good. That way your stress levels never drop. The minute your stress levels drop, you have to worry about being penetrated or bombarded by ailments or sick or depression or all this other great shit that you don't need in your life right now. So always do you to the best of you, and never let somebody take you off your path. Do what makes you happy, do what makes you feel good about yourself, and do what actually makes you feel good about yourself spiritually, mentally, and physically. Because if you can do that, there's nobody in this world that can shake you from your shit. Just do you. And this is Tico Tren. I'm happy to serve y'all guys. And we're out.